7:15 p.m. The numbers are so little on the top of my screen, and they glare at me with such intensity that I can just hear their accusations. I'm late for a night out with the girls, yes, but I have a perfectly good excuse, jeez. Considering I didn't follow typical office hours, they really can't expect me to be able to just go as I please at 5:30 on the dot. The client is first and foremost my priority. I have to sit tight when my personal assistant Chris tells me I have a big one coming up and that I shouldn't miss this one. He knows a lot more on who's who and what's what when it comes to these societies, and I trust that judgment call. Socialites. I really don't have time for rich people, their drama, and their politics. The sort who were born with a silver spoon in their mouths and who were used to wagging their silver tongues around. Mock Hammond, thank you for subbing on YouTube. I let them handle the negotiating with them, for the most part. Why else would have I hired him? But he told me I received a message about an hour ago.
Now, if only he has the full shilling when it comes to the time.
I have a full shilling. Come on, I have a social life too, you know, to an extent. Sort of. Pressing my head against the table, I try to stave off an oncoming headache when the notification for a new email pops up. All I'm expecting is, hey, looks like a good project I found, go send them a design, or something like that, really. But that's how often it goes. Even with these rich, jammy clients who have heard of me from their equally rich, jammy friends, I can't expect them to hire me right off the bat. Which is all well and good and reasonable. We figure out what they want, I send them my portfolio, my drafts for the projects, my rates, and hope for the best. This is a big client, Marianne. I'll babysit Beruthiel for you. Just please take this one project, I promise. This person is huge in Luxburn. Oh, I jumped the gun. Mr. Parker, this is a formal request to secure the services of Marianne Culloch, hereinafter called the designer, as authorized by Hannah Wright, hereinafter called the client, for interior designer work in Ermengarde Mansion, Luxburn, LX 180RF, United Kingdom. Client hopes to have a designer there on October 21st, Friday, with the time pending. But as I open the mail, I see that I have been requested by the client specifically. Well, I certainly didn't expect that, and it's pretty straightforward, too. Anyone else would be excited. They would be working with Hannah Wright. She's just one of those rich socialites that everybody loves to talk about, no matter how hard I try to tune such nonsense out. It would have been enough for me to reply an affirmative to Chris and leave, but he has never pleaded for me to take a project before. We've worked with big personalities in the past, celebrities, bankers, and even a few politicians. My PA had been indifferent about those. The question bounced about my skull before I spy one of the email attachments. A newspaper clipping from Luxburn Daily Business News section boasting the headline, Wright Enterprise donates $2.5 million to Refuge. The Refuge was for helping women, children, and victims of domestic violence. It caused quite a stir back then. Apparently they had invited businessmen, socialites everywhere in the guise of it being some big business announcement.
$2.5 million and an expensive-looking party to boot. These people sure know how to throw their money around.
That's rich people. Not that I should be so callous. They're going to do a lot of good and help the community of people with all those pounds. I, of all people, shouldn't criticize such acts, whether they were for show or not. At the very least, I know they'll be able to pay my rates. With the headline out of the way, however, I find myself staring at the picture that came along with the clipping. Because, wow, here I am expecting a sour old woman in a blazer and skirt, but the woman that was plastered on the front page looked like she belongs on the front page of the entertainment section, or even, if I'm to be crass, as the pin-up for glamour. Okay, I'll be real here, a men's magazine. She sure knows how to rock that dress. Wait, her hair, her eyes, her lips, she can't be her. But at the same time, she is her. All only several years older. She looks just like... No, come on, Mac. The world is full of pretty blondes. It's just a coincidence. Shaking my head, I snap out of it, reach out for the phone when it buzzes, nearly falling out of my chair in the process. Who else would be on the other line but the very people waiting for me?
Piss. I'm so sorry, Cam. I'm on my way.
That's what I say. Yet I still don't move from my chair, face flushed and horse rating. Horse. Jesus. I can only stare until I can until I can will myself to reply that yes, I'm accepting the assignment. And it takes even more time for me to just close the image, shut down the computer, and leave. Even then, it's already burning, and it's an image into my head, no matter how much I wish I could disappear. Makes me eager for the alcohol and company. Be eager for anything that can help me forget. It's a good thing that the nearest pub is just a hop, skip, and a jump from here. The Galway Shawl, as it is called by those who frequented the place, is the only decent Irish pub in this county. You can pretty much tell that someone is new if they can call it by its official name, the Crawl Bar. My home away from home ever since I moved to Luxburn. Well, that is when I'm not cooped up on my condo working anyway. It's good alcohol, good company, and thank God and Saint Cecilia, good music. Crowd favorites like the Boothie Noise, High, Westland Men, and Second Fusion Orchestra are often played. Not to mention the singing. I love singing. Anyone could just break out into a drinking song, and the others in the pub are just wonderful that they just start singing along. Doing so while intoxicated is the best way to go about things. Hey, it's a win-win as long as I don't puke in the middle of a chorus, and as long as I can get home in one piece at the end of the day. And tonight, it's karaoke night. A better time than to try and sing all my worries away. That's what my intoxicated brain tells me.
The ghost of guilt and sorrow remembers who I am, and in the prison of my heart, I was my only slave.
That song does not go with this music. 1. The drinking only reminds me of home, the thought of how home makes me think of her.
But in the depths of my cold soul, I'll leave the burden and despair.
I'm despairing, alright? Makes me nauseous. It sickens me that the smallest reminder of her can cause me such grief.
I'll fight for what's worth fighting for. Forget the fear, forget the rest.
No. Of course, that might just be the booze. Any other day, I would need to be drunk for this shit. Any other day, I would have scolded myself for drinking so much.
I lied to the Lord, I lied to myself, I lied to you and everyone I care, until there were no more lies to tell.
This song doesn't go with the music at all, but fuck it anyway. Oh, I'm sorry, continue. But I already have a client and we'll be having our first little meet and greet in a few days.
Cowardice is easier than being brave, but at last I found the strength I lost to sing my love letter to you.
You know, at least if the music was off, I could get with it, but...
'Cause people can lie, but my lone heart beats true.
I want to at least enjoy this night. Get over the hangover tomorrow and return to being a prim and proper professional after.
That song was for Cam, our lucky bride to be. So give her a hand, Galway shawl.
Your singing didn't match up with your voice just now. Oh. Considering the state I'm in, one can excuse my smug grin as cheers and applause rise from the pub's patrons. Which, okay. Because possibly off-key public singing aside, it was really off-key, it didn't go at all, the song too. I feel like I'm on top of the world right now, and that's a good reason as any to belt out in front of these strangers. Good drinks and good friends, there's nowhere else I'd rather be today. I forgot for a short while.
And that song was brought to you by Marianne McCullough, everyone! A round of applause!
That was so good! You rock, Marianne. Oh, please stop! You're just saying that.
The plot is right there!
You know neither of us can hold a tune, Marianne.
Neither can she, but moving on.
A toast to our shameless drunk singer. May your drinks forever flow and your notes be ever lovely.
If anyone deserves a toast tonight, that's Cam. Finally sealed the deal after 3 years, eh? Read 'em and wait, bitches.
Camila's diamond engagement ring gleams as she holds it up for all the world to see. She has reasons to be proud. 3 years of living together, and her boyfriend's finally asked her the big question. Obviously, she said yes.
Don't get too attached to that ring or the one after, sweetie. I was wearing a wedding ring not so long ago, and look at where I am. But enough of me being a downer. Cheers to a happy engagement!
You're way too goddamn happy for me. Of course, if something like Harana's divorce were to happen, I'd be there for Cam. Just as Cam had been there for me, acting more like, more than just my yoga instructor. I can't be happier for my friend right now.
Cheers! Cheers.
Well, we both will be there for Cam, won't we? Haruna and I. Haruna, it's been a real bad year for her ever since her divorce. She's such a nice person, even loaning me money to open a studio, and she didn't even deserve what her husband had pulled. I'm happy she's smiling again, pigging out like she used to. I think we've all missed our Japanese firecracker. We met in yoga class, something I had joined to keep myself in shape, and, well, honestly, so that I could make friends when I moved to Luxburn. Clearly, it worked like a charm. And it definitely didn't have anything to do with the fact that I brought along my lucky D20 die with me on that first day. No, sir! I love these girls so much.
What about you, Marianne? You're 30 years old and you still haven't got yourself a man.
And this is sad, because I know women talk like this. Guys, we don't give a shit.
And you guys know I have a very busy schedule. I don't have time for that.
Oh, come on! That's a lame excuse and you know it! You need a man who'll take care of you and you need it now! Maybe some hunk will be your house hubby while you rake in the dough.
I'm quite capable of taking care of myself. Who needs a Mr. Right? Hey, look at me, I'm Marianne McCullough, a lawful neutral cleric with 9 points in wisdom and 8 in charisma, but I can't get myself a date.
Kinda like her. I mentioned druids and demons once. Once! And they don't even know the rules or understand what the numbers mean. And I certainly am not the sort of holy person. I am a far cry from a miracle worker, and I barely have the willpower to fight off demons, especially my own.
Actually, maybe she isn't looking for a Mr. Right, but a Mrs. Right.
God, are you voiced by the actor whose fucking voice is Bulma?
Oh, my Marianne, we still love you even if you're in the closet.
That would explain some things. How do you know you don't have a ring anymore? Maybe you two can be together and I don't have to worry about my best girls being alone. What are you on about? There's nothing to explain.
Now kiss for the plot. I'm here for science. But the more I deny, the louder they tease until the other people in the pub start to watch. I mean, it doesn't help at all when Haruna drapes her arm over my shoulder and leans in.
Will I be all yours then? Will you be making me feel like a woman?
Don't mind me, I'm here. I know they're just kidding around, but that doesn't make me comfortable in the slightest. So when Kamala notices my silence and Haruna sees the expression on my face, they stop. And when that awkward air settles over us, the rest of the pub goes back to whatever they were doing before the whole thing happened. They probably won't even remember it when they wake up with massive hangovers. Listen, I'm just having a club soda. I'm just here to watch.
Sorry. Me too. Hey, no hard feelings, right?
Why are you both all uncomfortable with, joking about, like... It's okay. It's alright. It's 2016 in this game? I raise my glass. I smile. We drink. No need to say more. We're all definitely far too drunk tonight. So then why apologize? Eventually the fun times end. It's a weekday after all. And with Haruna being a nurse, she has to get ready for her next shift. Cam also has a loving fiancé waiting for her at home, and really didn't have to make a fuss about having left some buns in the oven when she took off early. Really, I understand. I was the one who insisted, who was determined to get pissed drunk today anyway. Moving to the bar, I sit, alone at last. Alone with a stranger. I haven't seen him here before. Obviously not a regular. He hasn't said a word and just sits there savoring his drink. With his whiskey served neat in one hand and lighter in the other. It doesn't even seem like he noticed me yet, and maybe I should go before he does look my way. Because he was pretty, and he was blonde, and those two things plus alcohol never did me any good. I'm sorry, this is your type? Oh, you poor thing. Nope. I thought too late. Judging by the way his flush-faced and dazed look in his eyes, he is as pissed drunk as I am. But whereas I feel like keeling over, he looks like he's still ready to take the catwalk by storm. Really, he just has the air of one of those men who think they own the world.
Hello there, sexy. Please don't stand up on my account. I already like what I see. Fancy a drink? It'll be on me.
But then again, I might be pleasantly surprised if he proves me wrong.
Want some between the sheets? Sex on the beach? I'm talking cocktails, of course.
Fat chance. But it doesn't matter, we both know how to play this game. And there are two different ways for this night to end. One thing or another is going to happen. The question is, what do I want to do?
Oh no, that's fine. I'd rather order some blue balls or some AMF if you don't mind.
I don't know what AMF is, but I do know what blue balls are. He looks like he's about to say some witty retort, but stops himself and downs the rest of his whiskey. I order him at julep, he gets another whiskey, we start the commissary small talk. Of course, the saying, ask me no questions and I'll tell you no lies, goes without saying. We ask nothing about each other, offering up falsehoods to establish a strenuous fake connection between the two strangers at a pub, if only to pass the time. Whiskey, as I have come to call him, he is supposedly 21 years old. Who the fuck are you kidding? Single, takes care of his sick mother, and is a manager of some sort. I kinda want to punch you in the face right now. Manager of what? I didn't care to listen to the detail. Meanwhile, Mint, as he has come to call me, is 29, and what did I say it was again? Oh yes, I told him that was a professional chocolate taster because fuck it. If I'm gonna tell a lie about what job my job is, might as well make it fun. It's a pretty decent chat between two pretty drunk strangers. And maybe it's just me, but we might as fucking well expend the tiniest amount of effort in pretending that there's something meaningful in this meeting. Would have been nice too if it was just that left at it. But during a lull in the conversation, he brings it up.
You know, I've never been with a woman taller than me.
Why does height matter, seriously? I never understood that. And I think he, might have been different from the rest.
Never have and never will, whiskey. Can we go back to the history of chocolates? Did you know that chocolate candy was introduced in 19th century England as a healthier alternative to alcohol?
Actually, a healthier alternative to alcohol, drugs, and depression meds, too. And Lucy was the most beautiful woman of her time. She had men come from the four corners of the world just to see the pure light of her exquisite green eyes. she were so lucky anyway.
No, enough of the history lesson. Come on, Mint. You know and I know what you came here for.
God, the cringe level just went up 100-fold. Though not every suitor was gallant, and she was no fool. She had known that sooner or later she wouldn't be able to defend her chastity.
Come on. There must be something that gets you going.
There is. Punching you repeatedly in the face. Can we do that? Can we spend the night? How drunk are you? So she had taken out a knife and gouged out her own eye.
There is something, but I don't think you can handle it.
Impressed with her devotion, God restored her eyes and made them more beautiful than before. He has a peculiar sense of humor, hasn't he? Because that only meant suitors kept going after Lucy, and she kept her eyes in a chalice to scare them away.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I can handle whatever it is.
Where's the option to tell him I have a dick? St. Lucy, help me. Help me turn away from sin. Help me with my own blindness.
My place isn't too far from here. I won't take care of you if it ends up being too much for you. And no one will be able to hear you if you try to scream.
What?
You sure you want to go down that road, pretty boy?
Wouldn't have it any other way.
No. No. No! Okay, the best thing about having my condo so close to the pub is the ease of access. As long as I can still stand and walk, I can make it home. Maybe I need help from a kind neighbor to help me with the last leg if I'm really gone overboard on the alcohol. But I always made it home. Sometimes with company. Of course, that always comes with complications, especially with really clingy ones. But it isn't anything a good tip about stalkers to the building security can't fix. I'm always nervous, though, even if this isn't the first time I've done this. And the first few minutes when we enter my room are the first few agonizing minutes when I try not to panic. Okay, Max, so far so good. You're panicking over this prissy little... Alright. Why the fuck am I single again? Don't let him smell your fear under all the liquid courage. He'll sooner or later... sooner or later, I'll never have to see him again, just like every other man before him. I'd like to say to myself that the men I brought to my place were more scared than I was, yet there is no fear when I look into Whiskey's eyes, only delight. When he starts touching me, I don't even hesitate when I push him back against the door. Roughness is to be expected. I'm killing him in my playthrough. I'm serious. If there's an option, I'm killing him. As long as he sticks to the script, everything will go smoothly. We'll have our little tumble in the sheets, he'll leave, we'll forget about it. If somebody asked what I really wanted, I would have told them that I wanted a bed of roses, chocolates, musics, and maybe in an Irish castle. Then why are you picking up drunks? But all I really want is her, and that's never gonna be a reality. That's my fault, of course. Because I was afraid. Because I was a coward. They would never hold a candle up to her. She was the light of my life. And I had to let her go. I can't even be bothered at the thought of her. Just the single thought of her makes me my resolve to see this affair through waiver.
Wait.
What is it now?
Yes, what is it now? What's it gonna be, Marianne? To sex or not to sex? There's a god up there, isn't there? You gave me a choice. Thank you. This is wrong.
We're both drunk.
And?
This is wrong. Don't you think it's a bit fucked up that we're about to have sex and we're just calling each other by the drinks that we had? How messed up are we?
Doll, shut up with the ethics and morality talk. It is seriously putting me out of the mood.
Oh, well, if you'd like to talk about ethics, where's your ring on your finger? You know, any guy or woman that wears a ring for at least a month gets a little shadow on your finger. Just saying, dog.
If you want to leave now, Whiskey, I understand. I mean, with how smashed you are, it'd probably be best for you to sleep the night unless you want to be mugged. But I won't stop you. And this isn't going to happen.
Bloody hell.
Achievement unlocked. God, what? Yes! Of course, he's annoyed at me for putting off our night of sexual congress. But no means no. And beyond spewing a few profanities under his breath, he surprisingly simmers down soon enough. I was worried for a moment that he might try to force something. Instead, he makes a show of fixing his suit, smoothing down his hair before making himself comfortable on the nearest seat he could find.
What are you doing then? You have a guest in your home. Put the damn kettle on. Dandelion tea if you have it. But I suppose all you have are those shitty tea bags from the store.
And for the absurdity of this turn of events, I would have flipped him off for thinking I have no taste. But in the end, I just laughed. All I got are cans of Korean ginseng and lemon balm. No dandelion, you prissy prick. Without a second thought, I do wet the tea. That's 3 minutes to get the kettle to a boil. 3 minutes where we say nothing to each other. I mean, what do you even say to the guy I was going to sleep with until I changed my mind? I doubt he's in the mood to talk about the influence of Troy's on Mallory. It's still unusual by the time we're both seated on my bed with mugs. No, make him sit in the goddamn seat.
Just so you know, whatever is going on right now is a lot stranger and fucked up than the one night stand.
No, because I would be tainted for the rest of my life.
We are two messed up individuals by your logic.
Everything is messed up, if you ask me. War, terrorism, famine, poverty, loved ones and loved lost. Oh, this whole world is a cesspool.
And you're really at the top of that cesspool. The dead air is telling, and it fills the room once more. One could think that it's a perfect time to burst, to spill about whatever issues that made us fucked up to the person that we are today. And it is. But I guess some part of me would rather not put the weight of my problems on someone else's shoulders. It wouldn't be fair to leave that to a person when I don't even know if we'll see each other again. Sooner rather than later, we both pass out on my bed, mugs left forgotten on the floor. I'm sorry I would not fall asleep next to this dude. When I wake, whiskey is already gone. Thank you. Thanks for the tea, Marianne. Whiskey. Well, he knows your name. A bottle of painkillers and a note on the table are the only evidence that I wasn't alone last night. I don't even question where these come from or how he knew my real name. I'm just grateful for something to help with the hangover. Might as well. I have a job to do. Isn't often that I think about drinking on the job. After meeting the riots yesterday, really makes me want to break my self-imposed rules. Because first off, fucking damn whiskey was fucking damn Mr. Right. Oh, I see what you did there with the name and the... No. On the top of the loft, they had somehow forgotten to inform me that they didn't own the Ermengarde Mansion yet when they hired me. What sort of person does that?
Rich people.
I could do nothing but twiddle my thumbs at this, however. Twiddle my thumbs and wait for the go signal. It's not like I can accept the other smaller project. This is a big job, and I should be ready to start on it at any time. Not to mention that the PA practically begged me for patience and wait this out. It was a hard decision to agree to, but I did so in the end. Besides, I'm doing this for the Ermengarde Mansion, not for anything or anyone else. I'd have a headache whatever I do anyway. I go to the pub again, but seeing what happened a few days ago, I'd rather not end up in bed with another potential client. And it might be a huge leap in logic, but a library is the next best thing after the pub. I have to go there anyway. I need more books for Dad. Plus, I also need to return the ones I borrowed last time. Finding a new book or two to read for myself while I have nothing to do isn't such a bad idea either. So on Saturday morning, I find myself going to the only library in Luxburn to, hopefully, cool off. After returning Azuli and a poetry book on Henry of Podabrady, I asked the librarian about several titles on his list, though I don't have much luck on that front. dialogue with death has already been snatched, and she bluntly said she did not keep our mathematical universe for someone who didn't return books on time. Make headway, at least, when I asked for about Siege and Rendition of Havana by Jacob de Pazula. If you count her snarling and pointing at the history section as headway, that is, the history section is devoid of any other except for myself and a redhead, though I'd wager a guess that the red's just passing by to get the classical literature section. So many books, so little times, getting the books seeing so many wonderful titles gives me great pleasure. That's when I spotted.
Hello, sailor. Why don't you come to Mama?
Okay. Oh, you're talking to the book. Not the naval battle book I was looking for, no, it's even better. History of Luxburn Architecture. Newly acquired History of Luxburn Architecture. First edition, too. I know, I just have to get it. I've been waiting to get my hands on this book for so long. The fact that there is only one copy proves to be a problem, though, when Red reaches for it at the same time I do.
think I had this first, miss.
That was very polite of you. I don't know where to go with it. I can only stare her down when she refuses to let go of the book. Refusing to let go of it as well, I raise a brow at her in hopes that the fact that I was significantly taller would intimidate the girl. She's a redhead. That doesn't work. Even then, she refuses with a rebellious look.
This isn't exactly light reading, miss. I mean, do you even know which architect was at the forefront of 18th century Irish architecture?
A beat. She blinks and I can't help the smirk on my face, which is wiped off when she opens her mouth.
Edward Lovett Pierce, who established the Palladian style through his work with Castletown House and the Irish Houses of Parliament.
I don't know why I can't fight with a redhead. I don't know why. God
This
damn it.
bridge was destroyed in this year to delay French troops while under the regency of Mary of Guise.
This is not what I was expecting. Let's be honest, how many people would know these history facts? Aside from me, anyway.
Going right to the obscure ones, aren't you? Easy enough. Tullybody Old Bridge in Clackmannanshire, Scotland, on the January of 1560, if we want to be specific.
Suddenly, it's a game where we throw these history questions, facts at each other, back and forth in hushed tones, unless we want to be thrown out of the library. For a while, it goes from strange competition into the strange but friendly banter, if it could be called that. That is as fun as it is, the exchange soon slows down until we're grinning at how odd this whole scene is.
Marianne McCulloch, my desire for potatoes doesn't quite match what the stereotypes suggest.
Have you two been holding this book this whole entire time?
Rebecca Gales, the Scots' supposed hatred for the English wasn't enough to stop me from teaching their little spawns.
By then, we had forgotten about the book, the tug-of-war, although she still holds the book in her hands. I had let go of it without realizing when she answered my first question.
History teacher, then?
Got it in one.
No wonder you gave me a run for my money. Now, if we're talking about architecture, I'd blow you out of the water. You're from where? Luxburn Uni?
Oh no, just St. Goretti's.
Ah, yes, Saint Goretti. You'd think a school would choose a more appropriate saint to name themselves after, especially when they have such very young students.
And I'm guessing you're an architect, if you're so confident about the subject.
Interior designer, Miss Gales.
Please, just call me Rebecca. You aren't one of my students, are you?
How old are you,
Marianne,
seriously?
then.
I could have said that in architecture, but I was an architect, but there's no point in explaining why I wasn't one anymore.
So, I've never seen you before. I'd like to think I've met every history aficionado in town.
I blame the rock I've been hiding under, of course. That, and I'm usually only here on the weekdays if time allows. Work often has me meeting clients on the weekends.
That must be interesting work.
It allows for some creative freedom, sure, but it's like working with children sometimes. Though you probably have it harder working with actual children. The hardest part is convincing them that your idea is their idea.
That sounds exciting.
It is!
But isn't that true for any workplace, though? We just cross our fingers and hope there aren't any man-children in charge of important things. Any big projects right now?
I'm working on the Ermengarde Mansion. Lucky me. That mansion. Wonderful. Breathtaking. I can't wait to start in it.
Lucky me! Okay, you know what? I can.
Now that is beautiful architecture.
Pause. Looks like she wants to say something at my mention of the house. I'm not surprised. That place is certainly popular with the locals, especially with the urban legends attached to it. In the next second, though, she seems to think better of it and drops what she's about to say.
So, do you have a portfolio or anything I can take a look at? I'd love to see your designs. Maybe you have some on a tablet?
Why, yes, you can go to my Twitch
I've
channel.
met some designers before, and they're always going crazy over these virtual room apps or another.
A tablet? Please. Callicrates didn't need those silly iTabs when he built the Parthenon. I certainly don't need one to design a house.
Your computer back at my place is all I have. Why should I buy an expensive gadget that has just get outdated within a year when what I have is just as functional? Traditional ways had a far personal touch, in my opinion. Not to mention these smartphones are awful tools of procrastination. And that's why I don't have one that's worth a shit. I can't even count on one hand the number of people I see going outside, only to have their eyes glued to the things. Yes! And fuck touchscreens. They're evil little things that make typing and what should have been a simple task harder.
I do have an online portfolio if you'd like. I can...
Speaking of thinking of the devil seems to have summoned it, because before I can even carry on, Rebecca's attention waves as she pulls out her mobile. For what I can only assume is a call, she gives me an apologetic look before standing up and excusing herself. Off farther into the aisle she goes for more privacy. I do my best to give it to her as well, trying to tune her out.
Well, is something wrong? Lunch at the coffee house? Sure, I can make it. I'm not too far. I can be there in 10.
I'm serious. I'm serious. I've been on dates with people who have pulled out their phone. I've been with family members during dinner at a restaurant, and they'll pull out their fucking phone. I hate mobile phones. If we could have the apocalypse where all of it would get wiped out, I would be so happy. With how quiet the surroundings is, she can't blame me if I overhear snippets of her conversation. When she returns with a sheepish look on her face, I know that our friendly chat has been cut short.
Sorry, I have to go and meet with some friends.
It's fine. Totally fine. No need to even apologize.
About the book.
Her embarrassment increases twofold when she realizes she's still holding onto a history of Luxburn architecture. I don't give her the time to think about it as I put my hand up and shake my head. Fishing out a pen and paper from my bag along with the other one of my business cards, I hand them over to her.
You know, I'm busy with work, so I might not even be able to take a peek at it anytime soon. You can go ahead and have it.
Aw, aren't you sweet? You're lying, but sweet.
But you'll have to ring me up when you're returning it just so I can snag it right away. Deal?
Makes quick work, putting her number down and handing it back to me with a grin.
Deal. Just message me during school hours, of course. You have a good day then.
You too.
Rebecca gone, I'm left alone, standing in the history section. Although my original plans were simply to sit down and read a good book, or a little pop quiz, if you can call it that, made the time pass by without any of us even realizing it. It was fun, and I do believe I made a new friend. Good job, Marianne. Even with the talk of lunch, however, I don't feel like grabbing a bite to eat. There are still some other books to be read here, and I'm hoping to find something that will help me while I work with the rights. Something like How to Deal with Arseholes Professionally 101, just in case. Oh my god, I'm starting to speak fucking Irish now. Shit! Or may I say shite. I've dealt with a lot of uppity, snooty, rich clients before, but it's still better to be safe than sorry. Because Luke Wright just takes the fucking cake, and he probably manages to eat it too. It seems the world is conspiring to keep me from me time, as my mobile vibrates in my pocket, and the moment I find something from the shelves of the classic literature section.
Marianne McCulloch, Charlie Rose Design speaking.
Rose Cooper here, Miss McCullough. I hope I didn't catch you at a bad time or anything,
Doesn't even sound like her.
but I just wanted to check in and tell you that we've got the clear to hand over the documents. Madam Wright told us that we should forward the floor plans to you.
Already? How did they go through the process of, surely this is there are so many red tape to even acquire the forms and into transferring the rights? No matter how rich the Wrights are, it shouldn't be this quick, right?
So, if I can just have your email, I'll be sending them your way.
It's not her.
I'd actually like a physical copy of the floor plans.
Oh, I suppose that's fine. I'm not at the office right now, but I can inform Miss Santos of your request.
I'll make sure to drop by the office after lunch if that's fine.
Not a problem. Right. Well, cheers.
Right. Cheers.
I don't know, I just don't. Is there some sort of deeper miscommunication than we last met? Some things take time. It's been, what, a day? Less than that, even? There isn't even a point in trying to make sense of these people who seem to be larger than life. Looks as though, like I'm on the clock starting today. Might as well eat. Grabbing some fish and chips from one of the street food stalls, I find a table to spend time with a copy of Marquis de Sade's The Crime of Love, since Rebecca left the book with I wanted. I've read this one before, along with the rest of his works. This would be the 18th time, in fact. But it's always nice to read through it again when I don't have the time to enjoy something new. Besides, when you're dealing with people so filthy rich they just end up plain filthy, you need the good old Marquis. Sound advice.
La blessure se trouvant sans aucune sorte de conséquence.
Okay, now draw me like one of your French ladies. The wound being without any consequence. Of course, it's folly to think that things have no consequence when everything actually does. Briar Reality Corporation's Luckburn branch isn't too far from the city center. It's a few blocks away, and I can easily eat and walk. Rather use this time to rest before I go into a flurry of activity. No doubt there'll be so much to do once we get our hands on the mansion.
Still a lot better than working on another condo, at least.
Surely. No matter how much BRC and the old owners put into the restoration and preservation of the place, my big repairs would be superficial at most. I'm quite certain that in their haste to sell the property, they did a rush job. It isn't any infrequent thing to do, despite how it is frowned upon. There'll be a lot of hidden issues that I need to weed out, and I have to make sure that I find every single one of them, especially the more serious damages. Structural integrity is definitely on top of the list we'll have to consider. The building might look sturdy, but it is century-old. That alone will likely pose a few problems here or there, put limitations on what we can do. Besides, despite how much I detest these rich snobs, they can pay rather handsomely, as long as I do an excellent job and do more than necessary. Those two things always make sure the referrals keep coming. I don't even have to hunt down projects for myself. When I go to BRC's office, I can't help but stop and stare when I enter the building. With the lunch hour closing, employees should have been back already, if they still aren't filtering through the doors. I get that it's Saturday, that people will probably feel tired and lazy to be working on a weekend, but they're still on the clock, and not bumming about wasting company time on extended lunch breaks and cigarette sessions. The office is spacious, as it is with these big corporations. Each person is given their little space of what's actually a 2x2 meter cubicle. There's a lot more empty chairs than there are actual people working at their desks. Reminds me far too much of the day, my last day, at Boriskovov projects during the massive layoffs due to the Irish economic crisis. But it isn't just that, though. Everything is as quiet as a grave. It's as if these people are merely ghosts. Speaking of ghosts, Santos comes in through the door looking as if she's just seen one. She looks at me wide-eyed with deer caught in the headlights, ready to bolt at any moment. I'd ask out of concern, but I feel I'm not in a position to do so. If it's something personal, I'd simply be overstepping my boundaries. Really, it's none of my business.
I presume that Miss Cooper told you why I'm here, Miss Santos?
Huh? Oh, yeah. Sorry, I just got back from lunch, you know? But it won't take too long. Don't worry.
Of course it won't. This whole project has established itself to be a matter done in haste. I do hope it doesn't mean that people are being careless in their duties.
She flinches and looks like she doesn't quite know how to respond to that. Thankfully, instead of opening her mouth, she leads the way towards her station and goes to fetch the floor plans. It won't take too long, as she says, but it does take a bit. Time spent to compose herself, most likely.
No, we usually just email these things.
I prefer the real thing.
Not that you would know. You probably have your nose stuck in front of a smartphone when you're not working, and even when you're working, playing those mindless, addictive games. I definitely wish Chris would stop playing that Bat-Cat thing during work hours, too.
I know what you mean. Digital painting is nice, but nothing beats the smell of real paint. Not that I go and smell paint like a crazy person, but, you know, the real thing is different.
Oh, smells like a white lacquer paint. I mean, what?
Yes, nothing is quite like the real thing.
Looking at the floor plans, I see that I got a lot going on for me. Now I know how Ray felt when he found the Central Park West building floor plans from that one movie. This is why I became an architect in the first place. Hold on. Wait, that's the ground floor, then the first floor, then the second floor. This is fucking stupid. You have a theater, conference room, quarters. What the hell are quarters? Yeah, quarters downstairs too. Is that just what they call another bedroom? Just not calling it bedroom though. I'm so confused. Moving on. Jacobean style at its finest. It's a thing of beauty. No, it's not. Look at these gorgeous rooms, the delicate harmony between empty spaces. Speaking of empty spaces, there's something rather odd about these.
I feel a bit silly saying it out loud because I've never lived in a big house, let alone a mansion. But during the tour, I had the distinct impression that the rooms were bigger.
That's what she said.
Maybe the scale is wrong? It's not much of a problem, and it is an old house.
There had been little details here or there, and I would have liked to address during the open house too. But it was all forgotten in the wake of Miss Santos's incident and the trouble with the ownership. The wine cellar is going to be the problem. I shudder to think what sort of repairs they did to the place. There might have been things that were swept under the rug, pushed to the dark corner of the rooms, and hidden away in the barrels. Water damage could have been covered up. There had been floods due to heavy rains in West England just last year, after all. And if there are any sort of damage to the house's foundation, that's going to be a lot of work. I was not able to look at the attic as well. For all I know, a whole family of vermin could have made their nests up there. Working with pest control is always the worst. The sheer size of the place is staggering, even if I did just say a lot smaller than I thought. I might be biting off more than I could chew, but who doesn't like a good challenge? First things first, I'll have to...
So, do you want a coffee? The one from the staff room is pretty decent.
There's really no need. I'm sure you have rules against it.
People have rules against sharing coffee? What society do you people live in?
Rules against bringing someone coffee? That's ridiculous. And even if there were regulations against it, nobody's really here to tell Sir John.
I like you. Bring me coffee.
I've already brought 2 mugs, and I'm not going to drink them on my own. Come on.
I have to stamp down my annoyance of being distracted. Seeing the girl, the young woman, though, it looks like she has a lot on her mind. If babbling is her way of dealing with stray thoughts, I'm not really one she should be babbling to. She wasn't babbling, she was being nice! Oh my god. How should I respond? I don't have time for this! You filthy bitch! Get the fuck out of my face! I give her time to speak on. But when she just stares, I clear my throat.
Yes? You have something to say?
An embarrassment creeps out up on her face. I snatch one of the coffees from her and take a sip. Too
Just
hot.
thinking and speaking off the record. It must be fun what you do. You go to people's houses and you make them, well, pretty. You're sharing your art with them.
It's a little bit more complex than that. But if you put it that way, it is fun. I wouldn't have done it for 7 years if it wasn't a little bit fun, I guess.
These big clients always have paintings in their homes. Do you have a supplier for art pieces?
I didn't expect to hear such questions from her, seeing how well she handled herself yesterday. I didn't doubt then she was assigned to the important sale like the Ermengarde Mansion, despite the little accident she had. Now she just looks too young, too nervous, and unsure of herself, although her enthusiasm must make up for that in spades. In fact, I wouldn't have believed it if she introduced herself the way she is at the moment. By watching her now, she actually looks like she should still be in college. Acts a bit like it too, when I think about it. Why are we shaming this girl based on her age or what she looks like? Seriously. I thought she was a teen slumming it out in the mansion when I first saw her there, lying on the ground. Okay. Surprise, surprise, she turned out to be one of the estate agents handling the property.
Clients usually support artists of their own choice. If they don't, I'm always happy to refer those that I know.
That's cool.
They're very picky. I don't think a hobbyist will have an easy time getting their work sold.
Hey, I'll have you know I was a student of the fine arts.
And yet here you are, selling property. Maybe you weren't a very fine student of the arts.
You know, maybe you weren't such a nice lady. And I thought you were. Maybe I took that a bit too far. She bites her cheek, and it looks like it's barely holding herself back.
It's not like I had a choice.
Mutters under her breath. I barely even hear it, but the hurt is there. And it makes one wonder what brought it on. Although it is understandable for reasons, what I think it is, very few people make it big in the art world. I can see why she's upset about it with the enthusiasm. I have a choice when I left Ireland. It was that or years of unemployment. The recession and the toll it took in the construction industry was out of anyone's control. I don't know what choices she wasn't able to make, and whether it was about her being at art school or something else. But the world isn't a fair place. The sooner she accepts it, the better. Yeah, give up your fucking dreams. Flip burgers at McDonald's. Do it! Still, with that forlorn look on her face, I can't help but sigh. The girl reminds me far too much of myself when I was younger.
Well, if you're thinking of commissioning your paintings, I'll have to see your work first.
Oh, it's not... I didn't mean it like that. I don't have any paintings.
Really? You sounded a lot like you still did art or want to. Now I'm starting to worry that you might just like the smell of paint.
I'm not a paint huffer, sheesh. I just mean I don't make much anymore. I don't really have the time for it. The tools and materials aren't exactly cheap either.
Everything has a price. It sounds like you're making excuses for something you're presumably passionate about. If you really want to practice art, a little out of your wallet isn't much.
It's not that simple.
It's not. Life's simple. People just like to make it complex.
Are you for real right now?
Speaking off the record, I have some advice for you, kid. Either go for what you want, or stop thinking about it when you have something else. That is unless you enjoy making yourself miserable, then by all means.
You know, if you wanted to look at the floor plans without me bothering you, you could have just said so.
Would you have left me alone?
We'll never know now, will we?
She is a bitch. Strained air settles in the room afterwards. It doesn't help that she doesn't immediately leave, as she has said, lingering awkwardly by the door with a downcast expression. It's clear that there's more to she means to say, perhaps even to defend herself and her choices in life, or if she expected me to dish out more of that advice. It's an awkward affair, and I have to choose to hightail it out of the reality office as quickly as I can. Though I am able to keep myself professional at all times does not mean I like it. That was being professional? Seeing that most of the day has already gone by before I realized it, I choose to head back to my flat instead. Despite today being a Saturday, no fun, but at least this way I can definitely avoid another unpleasant encounter. Unless she looks at herself in the mirror. Considering how much I'll be seeing whiskey in the near foreseeable future, I have a feeling I'll need all the rest the weekend can give me. Want to punch you in your boobs? For the first time in a long while, excited as I am to work on the mansion, I cannot wait to be over and done with this project. I can't wait to be over and done with your corpse on the floor. I mean, what? Monday couldn't come any sooner. After taking the floor plans from Miss Santos the day before last, I spent most of the Sunday drawing up plans and calling in my suppliers. Although no design choices have been made yet, I'm quite sure they'd want high-end appliances, the most expensive material, and the most pretentious everything. They usually do, these rich types, based on my experience, at least. Given how badly this whole thing started, it wouldn't hurt to be prepared. I have to check myself, make sure I'm not playing with my gloves as one of the other building tenants takes the elevator up with me. Makes me self-conscious when the woman's eyes go over me. I'm sure she was going to point out some perceived flaw in my physical appearance. But I'm saved from being paranoid when they went off a few floors later. Still, the ride up to my floor is nerve-wracking. The Reichs lived at the very top, the penthouse, the creme de la creme when it comes to condominium and urban living. Just getting access to the place is an ordeal in and of itself. I had to jump so many hoops, so many security checks to secure a key card. Not only because of the building manager, but because of the Reichs' personal security. At times I always felt like I've been interrogated for a crime and not visiting a client at their home. Even when their personal assistant called in to help out and verified my presence, the process is aggravated rather than hastened. Speaking of the devil. Really, we gained points with her? That is amazing. Isabella's a trooper. The elevator door opens, and I'm greeted by none other than Whiskey's not-so-little lackey.
I do apologize if I kept Mr. and Mrs. Wright waiting. But I'm here now, and I'm ready, so if I may, where are they?
They've just woken up, but they should be down soon. I'm surprised to see you made it through security. And only 5 minutes late.
You said I'd be through security soon, and it took half an hour. Define soon in this context.
I'd make myself comfortable if I were you. I'm going to go and put the kettle on.
About the tea, I don't want to intrude or anything.
The sir does not like being woken up by the whistling. But who am I to deny tea to a guest?
He shows me the couch before drifting off towards the kitchen, quietly pulling out teapot cups and all sorts of other things in preparation for the tea. I ignore the animosity towards his employer that his words imply, and I wouldn't be too surprised if Whiskey's own people don't like him. Accepting the quiet isolation instead, I brace myself for what's to come. In this case, soon apparently means more than 5 minutes or even 10. I sit in the living room just waiting. When the kettle starts whistling and the tea has been served, I continue to wait. At least the silence is relaxing. But then there's a crash. I nearly spilled my tea all over my lap in surprise. I look up expecting security to come running. Even the man at the kitchen counter continues to fix breakfast like he heard nothing. I don't want to speak up about it because he looks far too absorbed in his cooking. I don't want to be the cause of burnt food or worse. However, there's something in me that just wants to figure out what that was. Although I am normally not nosy. I continue waiting because it's not my problem. I have no business with it. These rich people usually value their privacy above all else. Unless, of course, they are posting pictures on social media bragging about what good people they are for allowing themselves to be interviewed for some magazine. Then again, the whole reason I'm in this mess is because I don't give two shits about what goes on with some people like that. And I'm not gonna get caught snooping around and be accused of some imagined wrongdoing. I'm not gonna be doing some busybody detective wannabe and run off to investigate whatever that was. Or just something mundane anyway, like a lamp falling over. I'm just gonna sit here and wait for Miss Wright, with my tea, in complete silence.
Could I at least put the telly on?
Hey guys, I think she's waiting in complete silence. I don't really expect him to answer. If he hadn't heard the crash, I doubt he'd heard me.
As long as you don't watch some silly soap opera.
Damn it, I was gonna watch Days of Our Lives.
The LBC News would be fine. The William Walker Show is on too if you prefer that. Not that I watch it, but my husband does. The remote is under the coffee table.
Oh, sure. Maybe I'll be lucky and catch the doc on. I heard they're having reruns of the classics and I want to see the second meet sixth in Spain. If not, just the news then.
The doc. I'm assuming they mean Doctor Who.
Thank you. I'll let you get on with your cooking now.
Did he just ignore the crash a while ago then? Whatever. Fetching the remote, I turn the TV on in hopes of filling the silence. Trying to, anyway, because of the thing turned on. And does it make the silence more awkward or what? I know I might not be the best at tech, but I am sure I can work a simple television remote.
Batteries must be dead.
Question, why does she have blonde hair now? There's blood everywhere. Help me, it says in red. I look at my own hands and find them clean, yet I see this grisly reflection gaping back at me. And though there is nothing staining my skin, I can feel the sticky and warm feeling of blood dripping down my cheeks. I should be worried. Instead, I feel my attention drawn towards her. Her beauty, blonde hair, soft lips, with skin so fair, swaying hips. I want nothing more than to hold her, plant my lips on her neck, and to run my fingers through her hair. Okay, that's a weird thing to fantasize about right now. She laughs and she smiles when she looks at me, but where are her eyes? Temptation is gone in an instant as I recoil, horrified at this reflection I'm seeing, only to back into something, or rather someone. Miss Wright stands there, twirling a lock of her blonde hair, a soft smile on her lips, and a hand on her hip. I must back away, but I ground and remind myself that this is my client. And whatever I just saw, well, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to say that perhaps I am being a bit daft. Don't ask. It would be preferable, of course, to think it was just a trick of light or the makings of an overactive imagination. Yeah, seeing blood everywhere and the fact it's dripping down your cheeks, but for whatever reason you want to put your lips on her neck. It's fucking weird, to be honest.
Good morning, Mrs. Wright. I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
You don't say.
Have you been standing there long?
No, I just came down and saw you were having a hard time with the telly. We must have forgotten to change the batteries. Are you all right, dear? You're looking a bit pale. Haven't you had breakfast yet?
No, I'm fine. I had breakfast already, Mrs. Wright. I just need...
Well then, you mustn't have had enough breakfast. I'm all for a good diet, but that's the most important meal of the day. Johans is cooking up pancakes. Pancakes will make anyone feel better, he always says. We can sit down and tuck in. You'll feel right as rain once we get some fluffy, syrupy goodness in you.
I was reaching for something, I can't find it. God damn it! Well, I must have misplaced it. I was gonna pull out a knife, she's way too happy for me.
And are you sure you're fine, Mary Hen? You're shaking.
Thinking down to my hands, I can see them trembling. Really? Just because she looks so much like her, I'm becoming a damn train wreck. I've been seeing her in my dreams and hearing her voice ever since I met Miss Wright at the mansion. With so many blondes in the world, what was different with her? I just remembered something. I'm not feeling too well. Well, I know these choices mean something. There it is. Oh, I'm sorry.
I just remembered something, that's all. It's nothing to worry about.
Are you sure? I am all ears if there is something bothering you.
She wants you to run a train on her? What?
I don't mind a good story, and I don't want it to affect your work performance.
Gossipy wagon, isn't she? She should just leave you alone. It's not like you need her.
Boys?
You don't have to worry about that, Mrs. Wright. I say business stays business, and anything else can stay in the doghouse until I'm done with work.
Just have to bear her through it, don't I? If I tell her that I'm hearing voices, that'd be a fast track straight to the nut house. What else can I do? Saint, if you help me at least, I become like her father, Damien. Or Damon, insane at the thought of lost love and mad in the pursuit of another.
Shall we talk about your work then?
If you'd like. It's on your time, after all.
I've been told many good things about you, and I've seen some of your work before. Others speak very highly of your work etiquette.
Yet I've never heard of you before. Not even a whisper of the McCullough name.
Well, I've only been in Luxbourne for 4 years. Tried to make it big in London for nearly 3 years before. And I've only been working these high-quality projects for the past year.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know what that means. Run a train on her? Not all of us are caught up on the lingo of Generation Z flirting. I stick straight to the point. It's best to be brief when talking to clients, after all. Keep it clean, cut as much as possible. Yet at the same time, I have to make it engaging so it doesn't look like I don't want to talk to them.
I imagine it hasn't been easy. I can't see why you've moved from London to Luxbourne, though.
Job vacancies were fewer at the time, and I had a lot of competition in London. Let's not even talk about the living costs there. But I'm glad I moved here, even if it hadn't been smooth sailing. If I had it easy, I probably wouldn't be working projects like these.
Why even bother explaining to her? She won't understand. She's practically born with a silver spoon in her mouth.
Shut up, Susie!
The woman could probably snap her fingers and have servants attending to her beck and call.
She does look the part of the spoiled heiress, doesn't she? It'd be a relief if she's just that. Something that different from Miss Wright and her. Before she can get another word in, words that may have proven me wrong or right, she looks at the top of the loft with a fond expression on her face. With just a simple glance, she can put in so much love that I felt a tad jealous of whoever holds it.
Good morning, Luke, darling.
Good morning, ladies. What a wonderful morning it is, that I wake up to such a beautiful sight. I do hope you two are getting along. I smell pancakes. I do hope you two are considering a diet just so I can have them all to myself.
Don't be a pig, Luke. You eat all of those and you might stop fitting into your tight suits.
What? I'm not a pig. You don't think I'm a pig, do you, Marianne?
You don't want me to answer that. With a saucy smile and playful wink, I can't help but think you are a bit of a pig whiskey.
I don't know, Mr. Wright. I'm an interior designer, not a zoologist.
The only stars she must be familiar with are statement of works.
Well, don't be a bore. You two might not be in a rush, but I'm going to go ahead and feast.
If you dawdle too long, he'll hog all the syrup.
The boob physics in this game are really ensuring the plot. Rich people are so eccentric.
Come on then, we can discuss business over food.
And cross their arms and just like this. Okay, it's like a boxing match. There's no denying the clients when they invite me over to their table. Ah, that's what that means, okay. But it was too personal to share a meal in her home. It would be terribly rude to deny their invitation. Besides, the pancakes did look and smell heavenly. A bowl of clotted cream, fruits, syrups, jams, and other spreads are laid out next to them, making a colorful arrangement. If this was brunch with friends, I'd gladly help myself to a whole lot, but as it is, I accepted just a few pieces of pancakes, topped it off with lemon and sugar.
You know, I was a tiny bit serious when I said I wanted a helipad.
And you're not serious about the greenhouse, the vineyard, and the stables?
Well, I do want those too, but I know you'll agree to those.
We're talking about interiors here, honey. You don't handle exterior designs and whatever handles those sorts of projects do you, Marianne?
I'm able, actually, and willing to take a project of that nature. I was an architect in Ireland before. Of course, that's another contract entirely. I also suggest we finish the house itself before working on any additions to the rest of the property. There won't be any problems about ownership this time, will there? Pardon if I'm crossing a line, but the acquisition was rather quick.
Oh, don't you worry. We've got everything sorted this time around. I've talked to Miss Cooper and Mr. John from BRC, as well as the old owners. Everything has been paid in full, and all we're waiting for is the paperwork from the land registry. They're letting us move in as soon as we please. It's not like they were living there in the first place.
That's good to hear. The problems that could arise from renovating another person's home would be, well, let's not dwell on it. First off, we'll want to know how you want the place to look. It's pretty furnished as is, but I understand if you want to modernize the whole thing.
Actually, I'd prefer to keep the place looking as it is, but at the same time, I want modern appliances.
I'm a guy, I don't give a shit about any of this.
You worked on the Ludgate's Christchurch summer residence. I do remember there being an oven I thought was a simple drawer before. Make them look vintage, antique, blend in with the rest of the decor.
Customize appliances then. I can't find someone for that, and if you can't tell me what you specifically want, it'll hasten up the process. We're talking about electronic appliance manufacturers. If you have a preferred brand to work with.
Why yes, Kenmore. They make wonderful toasters. Get the Get Good book of Locum 29. That'll book 23 for $19.99. Get it free. Kenmore toaster.
Splendid! So, what is next on our agenda? All the other interior designers we've hired in the past did not have us this involved.
Stomp, what sort of half-baked designer did that? If I knew who they were, I would have words. Isn't the time or place for it. However, instead, I use this brief pause to pull out the floor plans I brought with
We'll
me.
have to figure out what you want to do with the rooms. Here, we can have a quick run through.
What is that little room next to the master's bedroom?
Oh, as far as I could tell when I saw it, it's a second bedroom of sorts. Used, apparently, for the ladies in waiting who has served Lady Charlotte Ermengarde, which is strange, as that isn't the norm for these sorts of houses.
Well, we're not stuffing Johans in there. He won't fit. You don't suppose we could turn it into a walk-in closet and a dressing room?
I love fashion, but do we really need to turn an entire room into a walk-in closet, dear? We'll have large closets and a wardrobe in the bedroom already.
Says the one who takes 3/5 of our closet. Well, what do you suggest we do with it?
I thought a utility room of some sort would be nice. A craft room where I can do fun things. Or maybe a children's room might be nice. You know, for when Kylie comes over. Or if Rochelle visits once she's had a baby.
1, you are not inviting that witch. And 2, there's a whole mansion for Kylie to play in. We don't need a children's room, and you don't even do arts and crafts. I'd like to turn the guest's room and the study into my personal office, by the way, if you don't mind.
You can turn it into a personal office if I can have my utility room. It's just the one room of the many. I'm taking that room for myself, no matter what you say, dearie. So you might as well take this deal. You're always out doing business anyway. The real problem is the theatre. Whatever are we going to do with all that space?
Rich people goddamn problems.
Fine, we could turn it into our own personal cinema, I suppose. Might as well have it, if you plan on not having a telly in the parlor.
Yes, well, I don't want guests to be glued to the telly when they come over for a meal and some tea. By the looks of things, we can keep the rooms as what they are on the ground floor, though. The ballroom would be perfect for parties.
Do we really need a dining hall, though? I don't suppose we can't convert it into a garage.
What for? You can park your cars outside.
What about that room, right there, in the northwest corner?
That's sleeping quarters for the household help?
Seriously.
Oh, that is perfect! Johans will be glad if we have other staff members who stayed in. It'd be convenient so they don't have to make the trip from Luxbourne to the mansion when they're needed.
You'll definitely need a lot more people to maintain a property of this size.
The mansion is really a lot bigger than I thought. Look at all these rooms. I didn't even know there was a music room next to the parlor because of what happened.
There was a grand piano in there too, when we checked during the tour.
Did you hear that, Luke? Maybe you can take up playing the piano again. Oh, you should have seen him when we were younger, Marianne.
It's not like I was very good with the thing.
Oh, hush you. You were no Mozart, but I loved hearing you play nonetheless. He'd come over to my home and he'd play such fun tunes. He'd sing too, and I'd dance, and it was just...
Mr. Wright playing the piano? I can't imagine it. About the earnest way in which Miss Wright said so, told otherwise.
Anyway, what do you think of these plans, Marianne?
Are we not even going to consider one of my requests? Not even just a closet or just a garage? Now, that isn't fair, is it? You're not the only one who's going to be living here.
I hardly see how that's unfair. I told you you're getting your office and your theatre, the greenhouse, the vineyard, and the stables. That sounds fair, does it not, Marianne?
I'm serious. If I ever get a woman, you're gonna have the whole fucking house to yourself, honey. I just want one room. Just an office. A streaming, you know. One room. I don't give a shit what you do with the rest of the house, okay? Alright. You're gonna fucking shit all over the place. I don't care. Sounds fair. Right has her points, though. I don't really want to butt in at the spat of the husband and wife. But, the way the two were looking at me to settle this, I might as well just keep the facts instead of giving them my opinion.
Mr. Wright, your plan isn't quite feasible from an architectural perspective. I'm not even sure how much we can do without closer inspection. Well, the one about the garage, at least. A walk-in closet is easy enough, but the garage?
See, a garage isn't architecturally feasible, and it isn't going to be financially sound as well.
It's weird how in different parts of the world they pronounce things differently.
We're already going to spend a lot on your other requests. You have several acres of land to park on already.
What? Did you calculate that on the fly? Financially sound my foot. You're probably just thinking up of imaginary numbers.
Might I remind you that I was a financial manager? I also looked over and approved the expenses of our other houses. I know the rough cost of these things by now, love. Masters in business administration, major in accounting. Sometimes I think you forget that I'm not as dumb as I act.
That catches my attention more than anything. Sounds more unbelievable than Whiskey playing the piano. She doesn't seem like the type.
Business administration and accounting? What university?
Luxborn U, of course. Go Lux Dragons. Red and gold.
Excuse me, how about we move on this chit-chat ahead and do whatever else needs to be done sometime today? I had to cancel my appointments for this, you know.
Oh! God, I'm so sorry! Oh, I'm sorry, I just have an itch.
We might as well do a proper inspection with the designer this time, just to get it out of the way.
Yes, no time like the present. You want a thorough inspection? Might as well do it now. We actually took another look at the property yesterday, though it was brief. But I'm sure you would want to see it yourself, to spot anything we might have missed.
Not like I have much of a choice, do I? Finding the Ermengarde Mansion in their rice is an awkward affair. Not only am I worried about scuffing the expensive leather seats, but I'm also worried about getting in the middle of another couple's spat. With the tension so thick in the air, I can feel them starting at each other any time. Nobody's saying anything up until Mr. Wright tells his valet to turn the damn radio down. For a moment, I think that he might start. But instead, he just stays quiet, and so do the rest of us. In the end, the sufferable silence stays. I have never been so glad to see a house. Stepping out of the car and onto the mansion, and on the end of the uncomfortable ride, and I finally take a deep breath of fresh air. The beauty of the place never fails to make me gaze and wonder every time I see it as well. Miss Wright moves towards the front door, keys in hand. I already hear Mr. Wright applauding.
Alright, yo, Hans, we're going to go in, but I want you to look around the place. Familiarize yourself with it. Know every nook and cranny, every inch of the lot. Go and see where we can put that vineyard and the other things we talked about. We'll want to know where to station security as well, so go around the perimeter and figure it out.
Scouts the property and circles a perimeter on foot. You do know this is 46 acres of land, sir.
Get to walking it, bitch. I mowed it.
Well, you are not driving a car over the grass. Put those long, spidery legs of yours to good use. I didn't hire you to stand around and look intimidating. Go, mush.
Someday I'd like to ask how Johannes can even stand and tolerate this man. Why doesn't he just quit? Certainly the pay can't be that good. Even I'm a bit put off by the mutual employer, and the only thing that keeps me from bailing is the fact that we've signed a contract. At least I'll be working with him during the duration of the project. He works with them every day.
Sometimes I think you hired me to make me suffer for your amusement.
Someday, I'd ask. I feel a bit bad for him. If it's any consolation, he'll be away from Mr. Wright, if only for a little while. We're able to enter the mansion after a bit of standing out there in the sun. It's wretched, strange sunlight that is far too alien and rare. There have been a Bit of a problem with the missus not knowing which keys or was which. The first item on the agenda would be the grand staircase. It seemed sturdy during the last open house, but closer inspection might say otherwise. There are no obvious marks of damage, nor wear and tear, probably re-threaded during renovations. Peeking under the grand carpet, the wood is properly installed with the bark placed down to prevent cupping. The carpet itself could use a vacuum, though. Structural conditions, from what I can see, without actual dismantling the thing, look to be in good shape, and the handrails and support posts are firm. The work on it should be commended. I can't look much more into the rest of the foyer, however, because Mr. Wright starts to hurry us into checking the dining hall.
So, what do you think? Certainly we can't turn this area into a garage.
It's Jacobean architecture. I'd say these would be pilasters and not buttresses, but you never really know. They really liked mixing up these elements. You could say it was pretty avant-garde at the time. We might hit a support beam if we're not careful.
I'm sorry, you want to turn this dining room into a fucking garage? Are you serious? What?
And in layman's terms?
From what I see here, we could risk great damage to the house if we try to turn the dining hall into a garage.
What? Couldn't you just build a garage on the outside of the house like all normal people? Okay. The man didn't look too pleased at all. Rich people. I'm going to dine tonight eating my fucking steak while sitting next to my Bugatti and Ferrari. The look of disappointment before he sighs and looks around the place with an air of defeat. When he moves to speak, I dread another unreasonable demand again.
Let's stay dining hall then. But if I may have another request instead, at least spruce the place up with some flowers, some plants or something. It feels so old and dead in here.
That's hardly unreasonable. Daffodils are a must, I presume.
The look that passes between the two of them is a genuine look of fondness, though. This is the first time I've seen such an exchange between the two of them. If anyone are to see them like this, there is little doubt they loved each other.
Of course. And I want a garden full of them. Now, if you excuse me, I'd like to look at the rest of the house. I'll just be around here downstairs, if anybody needs me.
That leaves Miss Wright and I.
He's quite fond of them, you know.
Move physics. He's quite fond of them.
I can imagine. He looked terribly upset when we told him he can't have his garage.
I meant the daffodils. We always have a vase full of them in every house we own. Some I'd like to think. They may be about his mother. He never talks about her. I don't even know her name. He likes to flatter, claim that they remind him of me, but he's always loved the flowers, even before we married.
Looks like the piano. I didn't take him for a person who loves flowers. Daffodils, least of all. What's next? Am I gonna find out that Mr. Wright saves kittens from burning buildings?
I'll go and snoop about upstairs. You go and do whatever it is that you have to do.
And she goes without asking if I need her here. I'm left standing to stare at the walls. Literally paint drawing right now. Really, I don't need to do a thorough inspection of the building itself. It really isn't part of my interior designer's job. But the architecture in me is committed to doing this task with every project. If I'm gonna make a living space that can both form and function, I might as well make sure that the entirety of it is safe for my clients. Since I'm already here, I roam around the dining hall to check things off my punch list, if you will. But then it's time to move on, as I hesitate. Mr. Wright said he would be somewhere around here on the ground floor. I really didn't want to be alone with whiskey. I have to look through the place eventually, sure, but on the other hand, I can do it later when he's gone. I can go upstairs first if I want to. So I'm gonna go to the first floor. I've already seen enough of this floor during the open house. Of course, I know that it's just a convenient excuse. I just don't want to be in the same room with whiskey anytime soon. I might as well just go upstairs first. We covered that 3 times now, holy shit. My answer goes on the grand staircase landing are solid and at a proper height. Any lower and there would be trouble. There's a small chance of the carpet though, but as long as nobody tries to run down the stairs until it gets fixed, things should be alright. And the stained glass art. restored, no doubt, in the image of the last Lady and Lord of Ermengarde. Or was it supposed to be until Lady Charlotte's fiancé was brutally murdered? By a witch. A witch of all things, from what I've read. You'd think the historians of this place would be a lot more scrutinizing, filtering out stuff like that. I'm amazed they bothered with it, instead of replacing with some generic cookie-cutter design. I think this entire piece alone would cost roughly 500 or even £1 million. Lady Charlotte Ermengarde and her beloved. Looking at this mosaic, it's not too far a stretch at the imagination to believe that the depicted images could be Mr. and Mrs. Wright. It could easily be assumed as such if one doesn't know the history of the mansion. Really, a place like this should be protected by the government as a landmark. But what can I do about it? Walking in the East Wing, I try to go into the theater, but is met with an obstacle. The obstacle is that it's locked doors. 2 doors, and both of them are locked. I'd be frustrated, would be, if I already hadn't snuck off while the Wrights were having little business meetings with Miss Cooper before to take a peek. With what Mr. Wright wanted, he'd have to install a powerful projector, the type they used in cinemas, and a projection screen. The seats would have to be upholstered, if they're to be comfortable, and the walls will have to be covered in dark material, paint, wallpaper, or insta-wall-to-wall carpeting. Really, of all the rooms I could be jealous of, this one. I could just picture myself in there, watching old kung fu flicks on a weekend-long marathon. Makes me wonder what kind of movies Miss Wright would like. Rom-coms, perhaps? Her husband, on the other hand, I'd rather not think about. In the middle of my notation and planning, I don't even realize that I'm no longer alone, until I'm caught standing in front of a locked door like a fool.
Were you meaning to go in there? I'm afraid we won't be able to open it up today.
Oh well, I wanted to, but it's fine. I can still survey the rest of the place.
Apologies, but the key was missing when they were handed over. They told us that they'd get right back to us with it.
Just get a locksmith, seriously.
What? But aren't they supposed to hand over all the keys once property changes hands? That can be grounds to file a complaint.
They were already kind enough to let us move in so early. There's no need to raise a fuss about it. Worst comes to worst, we can call for a locksmith.
Air's heavy and somber when she grows quiet and glances out the window, out towards the vast expanse that surrounds what would be their home. And she looks back at me with a sigh and bitter smile.
Flowers. Yellow flowers. Daffodils, dandelions, and sunflowers and the sort all up front. Just a whole garden of them. They'll make the house look lovely, won't they?
Of course. A garden is a wonderful addition to any home.
Question. What is up with their obsession with yellow? As I say this, her eyes roam over me, scrutinizing and thoughtful. I have to hold back the shiver that threatens to run down my spine at being inspected so closely.
Yes, it must be nice.
We're still talking about the gardens, yes?
What else would we be talking about?
I mean, not having to worry about what another person thinks of you.
Okay.
What do you mean by that?
She lifts her hand and points to her wedding ring before it falls listlessly to her side.
Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I didn't marry Luke. There'll be no fights about walk-in closets or silly helipads. I could do with this place as my heart desires until there's nothing but content. Then again, I wouldn't have bought this place if it wasn't a gift for him. I probably wouldn't even be in Luxbourne if it wasn't for him. Maybe I would have moved to London, Manchester, or Birmingham. I might have even left the country altogether. France, Germany, Spain, Canada, Sweden, even America.
No.
The possibilities would have been endless.
No. Don't come to America. Don't do this. Don't do this to yourself. I don't know what to say to that. What is there to say?
I'm sorry, I must sound so petty and ungrateful. I do love him. So very much, even if he can be a bit difficult at times.
Oh no, not at all. I'm just confused why you're telling me this, of all people.
Just a whim, I think. Just flights of fancy, that's all. Don't you ever think about one decision you've made in your life and wonder how much would change if you chose to do things differently?
What, Hannah's voice, or...?
I try not to dwell on the past, ma'am.
The keyword is try, of course. Thinking of the past brings up too many ghosts. memories of her. And I do wonder what could change if I just said yes when she asked for me. Maybe she'd still be here with me. Return to the present, just like I said, try not to dwell on the past. Her worries seem simple enough. I mean, it doesn't have to be difficult if she makes it out to be right.
Why don't you decide on your own?
I mean, nothing against Mr. Wright, of course. Though whiskey buggered me to no end. By law, she would be the owner of the house. Well, unless they signed a joint property ownership anyway. Which is a rare thing, as far as I know, especially among these highbrow types. Sure, they could actually love their spouse. I doubt the possibility. But money is money, and it makes people do the most horrific or horrible things possible.
It's your house. You can paint the whole place pink if you want, and there's not much he can do.
Somber expression, she changes to a look of contempt.
I could, but we are husband and wife. Equal partners in marriage, Marianne, though I can see that you don't understand.
Hey, Cherry Summer, thank you very much for the follow. How's your day?
This is his home as much as it is mine. I'm not going to go behind his back over a room. And how dare you suggest that?
How do I even talk her down without causing further offense? It's in my attempt to shake off my own drama that I end up tripping right into theirs. Because really, I have no business meddling into the affairs of clients unless it involves interior design or architecture. Yet here I am, opening my mouth and yapping. I do hate to see a good woman down.
That's not what I meant by it. I just mean that maybe you don't have to get the approval of your husband all the time.
That is giving me modern Cinderella vibes.
Or well, okay, fine. I know nothing about married life, Mrs. Wright. You're right about that. But I still think you're allowed your indulgences every now and then.
Of course, my form of indulgence meant buying an old slate 78 RPM country records which I don't even dare use with my gramophone. For her, it could very well be buying an entire house.
That's just my take on it. A perfect relationship is as rare as hen's teeth. You got what you got. I mean, you're doing well enough without my advice. Sure, look it.
That looks to placate her somewhat. She looks away and starts to favor the new view outside once more, with a faraway look in her eyes.
Feel free to look around the rest of the house. Everything but the theatre should be open. Just call if there's need of me.
Of course, Mrs. Wright.
I really shouldn't have opened my big mouth in the first place. Sort of thing only gets me in trouble. Keep it clean, keep it simple, stick to business, that's it. Be a professional. But I failed to do that just because of a pretty face. No, I actually just zoned out and I didn't know what the question was, and I just went with what felt right. When she turns to leave, she glances back at me before disappearing into the foyer. I look out the window where she was standing, and I move on. Alone with nothing but my thoughts and her.
Finally, some peace and quiet. Thought the old biddy would never leave.
Utter madness, this hearing things. I reckon it's stress, though I don't know what's exactly stressed about. If meeting Miss Wright was really throwing me for a loop, I'd be worried. You're hearing a voice because of this job? What? I'm developing some sort of psychosis or disorder, well, I'd call a doctor. But hopefully it isn't that. Not right here and not right now. I mean, it could just be that the personal talking cricket, the conscience, so to speak, and I'm only noticing it now. Though if it is that, it isn't very helpful. Pushing the dilemma voices in my head aside, I go back to work. But I can barely make a few steps before everything tilts and shifts. I don't really stumble, but it feels like I'm being thrown off my feet and the rest of the world just follows. Though my feet stay firmly on the ground, and even if I'm stay upright, I feel like I'm being heaved and put off balance. I have to close my eyes in the hope of willing the sudden sense of vertigo away, but when I open them... Oh. Well, okay. I don't feel any less sick because of the sight that greets me. Blood dripping from the wall, ceiling, pooling downwards and seeping into the curtains and the carpet. A wave of nausea stronger than the last hits me, along with the overpowering stench of blood and gore. What a bolt! The rational part of my head is telling me to flee, and I would have gladly done as if it asked, if only I didn't hear her.
In here, Marianne. Come on. I have something to show you.
So you're telling me the ghost speaks to her, but no one else? Okay. I could have ignored it. Would have ignored it if only heard it in my head. But I swear that this time it's coming from one of the rooms, much further into the study. And I feel compelled to pay attention. I can't just turn around and leave. Not when it's her. I don't even think as I follow the sound of her voice. Lorianne. Lovely Amanda Lorianne Lesserhoffian. It was my friend. The only one that I had at St. Samanthan's. I was a scholar of the charity case in a school of privileged and prestigious young girls. They all looked down at me if they cared to look at me or acknowledge my presence at all. All except her.
Oh, stop your crying. You know better than to listen to Maeve. Why I ought to teach that butterface a lesson?
Wait, no, lass! I don't want you getting into trouble with the sisters again!
Relax. It's not like I'm going to stomp her and her lackey's arses flat like last time.
Come on, let's just go back to our dorm room. I don't want to be on my Tobler while you go get yourself punished.
Or in high school mates club.
You'll be fine. Gip's there with you.
Lorraine was there when I needed her, through my highs and lows. Having her as a friend made being in a strange school away from my father all the more tolerable. She saw this poor, helpless girl who was kept down and shunned by everyone else, and being the kind soul that she was, she rescued me. So brave. Beautiful. She was something else.
I'll eat all the chocolates stashed away in your closet if you go.
I can get Mar. Just don't go complaining to me if you get a tummy ache because of that.
Well, you don't want to get detention on a weekend, do you? It's a Friday. We can go to town and have some karaoke. And we can have a go at druids and demons again. You're not going to miss that just because of Maeve, are you?
Sometimes I question what I did to deserve a friend like her. In the darkest corners of my mind where traitorous thoughts lurked, I thought she only felt sorry for me. Maybe she was just being a good Samaritan offering a helping hand. And perhaps I'd been too selfish to return the favor.
You have a point. I'll just kick her arse on Monday then.
That's not what I mean!
I know what you mean, Em.
Wait, where are you going? You just told me you wouldn't cause trouble.
I still have something to do. Don't worry, it's not like I'm going to burn down her dorm room or something criminal like that. I'm just going to talk to her. Maybe I'll make it so that her room smells like a dog's air biscuit. That'll make it an excellent weekend. I'll see you in a bit, Marianne. Lots of tumblers.
Because when she told me that she loved me, I couldn't admit that I felt the same way. Not to her, and not even to myself. It was wrong. I was taught that way. Husband and wife, one man, one woman. Unclean and pure. I prayed for her and I, our sins and salvation. I wanted to apologize for disregarding her feelings so callously, but it must have been like a slap to her face. But life had gotten in the way. Exams, which were trivial in the hindsight now, took top priority. To keep my grades up and to keep my scholarship for father. I told myself I would apologize to her when those were over. That I needed to focus first and not let anything distract me. It'd have been easy when she avoided me like the plague. She was upset, I get it. I thought I had the time to make things right, but...
At 7 in the morning, students found a 5th-year dead. Assumed to have fallen from her dormitory window.
They told us it was an accident. That was the official statement. I knew better. She was dead because of me.
Maeve had a hook and I kicked the bucket, didn't she? wrong, the witch is dead!
She had, though she didn't say which, Lorraine.
But at least Maeve had the courage to admit how she felt about me.
I don't even know how long I've been stuck here in this trance. In the mirror, Lorraine smiles at me. She's as beautiful as I remember her, but then I feel bile rise up in my throat as her clean image warps into how she looked like when they found her dead, lying on the cold, hard ground. Good Saint Invinia, great wonder worker in every affliction of mind and body, help me. I'm seeing things, hearing things. Am I going completely insane? Looking everywhere but at her, I hope and pray that it's enough to will whatever this is to go away. It doesn't even immediately register in my head that I can just leave.
You, on the other hand, can't even look me in the eye.
This isn't real. You're not. You're dead.
I'm dead. Because of you. And you won't even look at me. Look at me.
My breathing quickens and I can feel my heart being torn apart by her words.
I'm so sorry, Lorraine.
Look at me!
I can't take it because she's right. It was my fault. The least I can do is look at what I've done. Lorraine, broken, bleeding, looks at me with such hate-filled eyes. An unnatural smile stretches across her face and I can only see malice in it. She lunges as the mirror ripples around her form, the glass parting like the water's surface for her. She grips my shoulders, I can feel her nails dig deep, sharp even through the fabric of my clothes.
There you are. You're coming with me.
No. I don't even know what to do! Okay, my god.
You're coming with me.
This is a first. It doesn't really explain it, does it? It's just like A and D. Like, do I hit the ball when it gets there?
You're coming with me.
I don't... Okay, hold on. It doesn't explain it at all.
You're coming with me.
Oh, okay, I get it. I have to just go back and forth. Okay.
Why won't you love me?
Okay, I get it now. It just doesn't explain it at all. Apologies spill through my lips as tears cloud my vision, but I won't give in to the madness. With every bit of strength I have left, I struggle to get away from her. Fear grips and threatens to choke me. I endure, I escape, and without turning back, I stumble back out. In my panic, I don't even care to look where I'm going. With one hand on the wall to steady me, I just hobble as fast as I can away from the study, away from that mirror. Question. Why does she get to fucking live? Remember, the other girl ended up in a coma because a car hit her. What the actual just happened? Why are we allowed, like, we're forced actually to live? We're actually forced to either quit the game or live. Fucking stupid. Away from that mirror, freedom is bittersweet. I'm free from the madness, it seems, as running out into the hallway reveals it to be in a pristine condition. I want to imagine this is a B-horror movie, oddly written and hosted by Elvira. Oh god! But it means I've turned my back on Lorraine again. She's not even alive. Stop it. I have no plans of stopping, not until I'm safe. And if that means walking back to Luxborn, as ridiculous as an idea as that is, then so be it. Suddenly someone grabs hold of me, however. Fingers digging deep into my shoulder and my heart nearly stops. My body seizes and I nearly scream.
Marianne, you look awful. I mean, not awful, but did something happen? Are you alright?
Listen, your house is fucking possessed. I'm leaving. Bye.
This is right.
Plot! Booby pillow. I mean, without thinking, I sought comfort seeing that it wasn't her. It was a sudden impulse thing to do, and I had been in better condition. I wouldn't even dare of doing such a thing. But I didn't know what else to do. Though I know I shouldn't. Her warmth, her scent, they grounded me. She is intoxicating.
Marianne, what's going on?
Listen, where's the nearest bedroom?
Oh, you're shaking like a leaf.
Tremors run through my body as soon as my mind realized I am no longer in danger. Wanted to cry, scream for about what I'd seen, but like a scared child, I couldn't control myself. My mind couldn't reconcile what I had just seen. I should just write it off as a figment of my imagination, and yet I can still feel her nails cutting into my skin.
Are you sick? Should I call for a doctor?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Wright. Just feeling a little woozy and lightheaded is all.
Let's get you somewhere to sit down then.
But I'm fine in these pillows.
Come on, don't worry. I have you.
A lie. But a whole lot less complicated than telling her I was attacked by a dead girl. The feeling of fear eases off. I feel nothing but shame for my actions. I quickly back away as I clear my throat and nod my
I think
thanks.
I've had enough looking around. If it's all right with you and Mr. Wright, I'll meet you outside.
If you're sure, I'll have the car started.
You know, I know Rule 34 applies to this. There's probably someone who had just did some fan service for this.
Do you need assistance heading downstairs?
I'm all right, ma'am. Just go on ahead and I'll be right there.
It seems to placate her worries, though only for a brief second. Before she heads down, I don't miss the concerned glance she shoots my way, hidden quickly under another smile. I have to make an obvious joke. I think they'll become best friends. But, I won't begrudge her for it. That worry. The look on my face must have been strange enough, sighed on its own. Even I am still reeling from it, from whatever that was. Her voice still whispers in my ears. After all these years, she's still... No, Marianne. Shaking my head of the thoughts, I drag in a breath and follow shortly after Miss Wright. Whatever has happened in the past, it's long gone, only memories now, and those are things I can no longer bring back. It's already dark as we make our way out of the mansion. Not a creepy house at all. With no lights, we are only illuminated by the headlamps of the Wright's car and the stars above us. The sight of them helps me compose myself much more than several minutes of being alone in. The car's engine is running, yet the two still stand on the lawn. Miss Wright is busy, eyes up at the stars, and Mr. Wright's arms crossed and his eyes down on the ground. It is the crunch of the grass underneath my heels that brings her attention to me.
About time, what took you so long?
I didn't give you permission to talk to me.
A minute longer and I'd think the house swallowed you all up.
Oh, hush, dear. I'm sure she has her reasons. Marianne doesn't seem the sort to idle.
Sorry, I was just checking on something important.
See, business is business and they take time, love. You should know that better than anyone. So, Marianne, what do you think? Are you the woman for the job? I know we already signed papers hiring you, but I want to be 100% sure that you are committed.
I glanced back towards the mansion, knowing what I had seen there, or rather, who I thought I saw there, because there is just no way. Not to mention how I acted towards Miss Wright, for goodness sake. I should feel the slight bit hesitation. I was lucky. I have seen films to know what happens when a promiscuous woman enters a haunted house. I've just seen films with promiscuous women, but continue. It's my chance to turn it down, make an excuse, say that I'm not up to the task, that I need to take care of my old, sick father. Just pay the fine, which is probably outrageous for the contract like this, and let it go. I should just turn it down. But for some obstinate reason, I can't. In the same manner, I haven't let go of her, of the regret that shadowed me since that day. Much as I hate to admit it even to myself, seeing her again, the mischievous glint in her eyes, the loose tendrils of her hair curled around my forehead. It's something I've terribly missed, and now that it's here, almost within arm's reach, my father would tell me sometimes you just simply have to go through with it. Consequences be damned. So clearly we're going to be, what do ladies do? They're into one another. I don't know. And well, I really don't have any logical reason to say no. The 5 alarm bells ringing should right now tell you no, but alright. It's not something a client like the Wrights would want to hear from a professional designer.
It's certainly an interesting project. You can be sure I'm seeing it through the end.
Such dedication! Oh, I do love the determination.
Listen, she just wants to smell you again and place her lips on your neck. Trust me, I've been in her head.
You were always determined like that, weren't you?
Shit! Hearing her voice again again sends a chill running down my back. I can't wait for this day to be over. And yet you want to come back here. From the mansion and through Anselm, I rode with them in silence. But as soon as we hit the city proper, I asked to be dropped off and bid them goodnight. I thought it'd be best if I didn't stay too long. I'm in confined spaces with either Mr. or Mrs. Wright. Both seemed to cause me serious trouble, and if the project had been any less interesting or grand, I would have dropped it without a second thought. Would've, should've, shouldn't have, wouldn't. I assure them that my place isn't far off, and I just have to fight off the urge to roll my eyes and groan when Whiskey throws me a little smirk. But even in my own home, peace is elusive as is sleep. I lie awake thinking of what I saw in that mansion, of who I saw. And if I so much as hear a single whisper from her, if I so much as see a wisp of her hair, what, you'll fap? Seriously, I'm afraid I'll go mad, and none of that happens. And it makes me feel hollow. For 2 nights, I've had trouble sleeping. But it's only one morning when fatigue has already let me rest, and then I'm reminded of what terrifies me so. They would have scissored. I mean, I was thinking there was another word, kind of like there was spooning and all this other shit. In my restless dreams, I see that mirror, the one in the study, and in it I see her. I see them. Told you! I mean, you were technically right with the train. We're getting there. Lorraine and Hannah. Hannah and Lorraine.
Poor pathetic Marianne. Work, work, work. She'll work herself to death.
See? She doesn't listen. That's all she did. Look at what happened to me.
They talk amongst themselves with cruel smiles and venomous tongues, or rather to themselves, 2 heads, 1 body. Okay. A horrible mockery of these women as if they were one and the same.
More's the pity. Life goes on and goes out, and she doesn't even see it.
Do you think she'll even realize when she's kicked the bucket herself?
And they say a person has a hard time telling when they're in a dream. It was true enough often. Even with this bizarre side, even with the oblivious implication that it isn't real, I can't help but feel distress.
Likely. Is that any way to live at all? She might as well be dead.
Cruel fate that she's alive and I'm...
Though they speak in each other's ears, tones low and hushed, I can still hear them as clear as day. Their whispers pervade the air, heavy and oppressive. They bury and dig into my head like tiny maggots worming their way into my skull. It's only then they take notice of my presence. Eyes turn towards me and I can only feel small underneath their scrutiny. Caricature smiles etch on their faces, mimicking each other grotesquely.
Oh, Marianne! How long have you been standing there, dearie?
Come join us, Marianne. We won't bite. Unless you ask, that is.
Please?
Have you been looking at us? Spying? How scandalous. Such a naughty girl.
I'm sure you were just waiting for something lewd to happen, weren't you?
I would never.
You know she will not admit it. She thinks it wrong. You've said it so yourself.
Yes. She thought me wrong, impure, abnormal, because I loved her.
Beth hitches and open mouth to protest, but they stop me, screeching. The mirror that holds them cracks, lines spidering across its surface.
Do not lie. We know the gluttonous thoughts you try to deny, girl. All those desires you bury beneath that sickening guilt. You act the martyr when you turn the bed you lie in into your own hedonistic hell. You are nothing but a tainted soul with filth-stained flesh held together by falsehood and pride!
They look livid. You know, when it looks like they lunge. Awake, feeling like the wind had been knocked out of me. With a groan, I squint and find certain fluff ball sitting on my chest, looking as pleased as Punch. She is Overletty of the Cats, queen of despair and destruction of the nice furniture. Though I can't stay mad at Her Majesty because it feels like she did something good this time. I was having a nightmare and I can't even remember what it was about. What? Trying to recall leaves a terrible pit in my stomach. Maybe it's probably better that I don't remember. You know, I don't envy people that don't remember their dreams. I feel sorry for you. I have some awesome dreams, that's all I'm saying.
Good morning, Baruthiel. Who's the good kitty? Are you hungry? Is that why you woke me up?
I swear to God, if they fuck this up. Yes, I'll accept it. A contented purr, that wasn't a purr, but comes from my sweet dear before she jumps off the bed and trots towards the kitchen. On the other hand, it takes me a bit more before I roll out of bed and start my day. Mornings before work is always a quiet affair. Shower first, then a mug of coffee and a bowl of oats. Sometimes I do stretches. I always check my work email. The riots will be moving into the mansion today. I think the paperwork is officially done yet. It isn't too far-fetched to think they were allowed to start their move despite that. Which, question. You have a giant painting of two women on your wall. Not even I have that. You have a picture over your bed that has two women in it. Well, look close enough, your desktop literally has the same girl in the picture. And you have several images all around it that are female as well. If you're not into women, I don't know. And it doesn't scream it, I don't know what to tell you. Rich people like them always find a way to get what they want after all.
I'll be leaving you again today, Beth. So you behave and make sure not to shred up my new covers, okay? And don't worry, I didn't forget tomorrow is Black Cat Day, so I'll throw you a party.
Wait. What day is it? It's the 25th. The 25th really a Black Cat Day, or is that just a thing they made up for the game? I like how she gained points with Lou. Hannah, of course she did. October 22nd. On the bombs. Up in Fallout Universe, whatever.
But only if you behave like a proper lady.
She barely gives me a glance as I say that before going back to her own food. Cats, still better than humans most of the time. Even better if they were cats that turned into Nikos. Oh, that's a world I want to live in. I mean, what? I bet I have to work with humans. The place is already busy as soon as I get there. Foreman and one of the I recommended to the Rights for his work ethic as early as usual. Already he's instructing men here and there with bigger loads. I have no chance to talk to him as Mrs. Wright appears and greets me with a smile. Can I have a hug?
Mrs. Wright, I hope everything has been to your liking thus far.
Good morning, Marianne. It has been delightful, and these men have been very helpful. Look at all this.
What?
It's so busy here. I'm getting tired just looking at them go.
I don't have a thing for Nikos.
No complications so far with the movers or the previous owners of the mansion, I hope?
If anything, the only one being problematic is Luke, if I'm to be honest. He can be such a diva, but I do like that about him.
Oh, and speaking of divas, she stops looking at the upper landing where Mr. Wright comes through with the two other movers and the mirror from the study.
Oh, do be careful with that mirror. We wouldn't want anyone getting hurt because of broken glass. Why are you even having it carried around?
Oh? You did say you didn't want the mirror, and I keep getting distracted by it. If I'm going to turn the study into my office, I'd rather not have it there. Where can we put this?
Number 27? Okay.
Well, you are not putting it in our room.
Hold on. One, save. Okay, so the game is off. Okay.
Why don't you go, I don't know, put it in the wine cellar for now? We can figure out if we'll store it in the attic or somewhere else later, yes?
You heard her, boys. To the cellar it goes. Mush!
The movers bring down the mirror one step at a time, no matter how much the man tells them to hurry. An unsettling feeling grows in my stomach as I see a reflection in the bloody thing. And if I look away, not wishing to whisk anything, if I see Lorraine's image in the mirror now, I wouldn't know what to do. I don't have the luxury of privacy right now, and I'm not going to break down in front of all these people. Miss Wright only shakes her head and laughs at her husband's antics as they take the mirror out of here. He's back at it again soon enough, pointing them in here and there. In your room, on the ceiling, lining purpose, of course. Oh, yeah. I'd say he's the man with the plan, but it sort of interferes with the layout and design that we've agreed upon before. I'm about to point it out,
It's
but...
better you let him realize his mistakes on his own, rather than tell him of them. That way you do not get blamed for his actions. It is more fun, too, to tell him, how does they say it? I told you so, once he slips up.
I like you.
Been working with him long enough to know that, huh?
It's not like I plan to make too much of a fuss unless he changes is actually crucial.
It happens often enough, when one is made to accompany him nearly all hours of the day.
Up, higher. Come on now.
Still, he could be at least less pushy about things.
Careful now. I know your pictures are framed by cheap plastic, but those are framed by African blackwood and are one-of-a-kind commissioned paintings. Each one is easily worth a lifetime of what you lot make.
Now I know where we are in this book. It's surprising how many hands-on he is compared to my usual clientele. Well, the both of them are, actually. Refreshing to have them participate despite their initial reluctance.
Luke, do the dishwashers go into the kitchen or the butler's pantry?
Now that I've heard it twice, I'm just... into the pantry. Okay. Okay, alright. Are you playing stupid right now? Is that your plan?
Pantry, Buttercup.
Oh my god.
Careful, that's Emma. No, you there, put that down. You do not manhandle a Napoleon Abueva.
It really needs to tone down the dramatics a notch. Miss Wright and the butler look like they're used to it. But the rest of us, well...
Sweetie, why don't we go and sort your soups upstairs? Let your Hans and Marianne and the foreman deal with the rest of the work.
We have this, Mrs. Wright.
Yes, please do go before a blood vessel bursts. Bloodstains are so troublesome to clean.
In this original scene, he was over there, she was over here. Okay, didn't get that right. I know I'm nitpicking at the moment, but still. There's an obvious sense of relief as Mr. Wright is dragged out of the room, leaving the movers to do their work in peace. Some grumbling even comes from some of the younger workers. It's a good thing that the family butler isn't some blindly loyal tool to his boss, or there would be trouble with Mr. Wright.
He is such a bratwurst. Whiny baby who never got enough hugs from his mutter.
Mutter.
Probably lost in translation, and not that I'm condoning talking about someone else behind their back, but I think you meant to call Mr. Wright a horrible brat.
Well, here's that too. There are a lot of things I can call him, but I mean to say that he is a big weenie. A childish name for a childish person. Like a child, he whines when he doesn't get what he wants, and he breaks the toys that he has.
It gets a laugh from me, as well as a few of the movers who linger near. He and I carry boxes instructing the movers where they should be, and generally taking over Mr. Wright's work. It goes off without a hitch, and the man is helpful, efficient, and capable with physical labor, despite his clean-cut appearance. A gentleman to boot, taking boxes from me when he sees me struggling with them. Speaking of boxes...
Hey, one of the boxes for the kitchen is missing.
Oh, you seem to be holding it in front of you. What's that? It's a dick in the box.
Has anyone seen it? The one with the pots and the knives.
The Bratwurst had it brought upstairs, thinking it was for the attic.
You took a box of knives up to the attic. So you just gave the enemy in this whole entire game weapons. Oh, joy!
Why would he... Oh, never mind. I'll go get it.
Okay, you're fucking dead. Well, let's just discount her from the game. Why even bring a box of pots and knives to the attic? There's probably no point in making sense of what he does if he does them just because he can. At least it turns out that I don't have to make it all the way up to the attic. The mover, probably on Mr. Wright's orders, left the box on the stairs.
At least it's not that heavy.
Imagine I'll hoist it up without too much effort. But the time it takes for me to do that is long enough for me to overhear an odd conversation I could never in my life imagine coming from a couple like the Rise.
Oh, if you're not careful, I might go a bit loopy and I'll start bringing cats home. And soon enough, one day you'll find yourself going home to a barn just filled with felines that follow you everywhere.
Oh, don't bluff. The things would shred up your precious furniture. Besides, you don't even like cats.
True, true. Dogs are infinitely superior here, of course.
But what about the wet dog smell? The mess. I'm not cleaning up after a mutt, no matter how you think about it. A cat would be better.
For once, I'll have to agree with Whiskey on this one, though I can live with Miss Wright being a dog person. But as amusing as this conversation might get, I really shouldn't be caught eavesdropping or slacking off on the job. At most, I should be looking at ways of possibly soundproofing certain rooms, perhaps bringing it up if they don't realize the lack of it. I really should move on. No matter how bizarre the conversation might get, I really must go. Not to mention, just standing here when I have no reason to loiter just feels wrong. Besides, the magic word here is privacy, and I respect that. Keeping it in mind, I won't have a guilty conscience filled to the brim with the secrets of the rich and famous in my hands. However, if you walk past someone's house and you hear moaning, you must, and I tell you this with all love in my heart, you must scream to the top of your lungs, "Finish her!" I'm just saying. I do it every time. It's a beautiful thing. Okay? I take the stairs 2 steps at a time. If I wasn't in danger of getting stabbed by my baggage, and if no one else was in the foyer. But Johannes takes the box from me, I only give him a small smile. There's no reason to gossip about the peculiar conversation of my employers. Probably heard much odder things from them, and doesn't seem to be a cat or dog person either. As soon as I follow him into the kitchen, he raises a hand to stop me.
Nine, I know you are a very skilled architect, and I have seen your work. But this shall be my kitchen, and I shall fix it according to my wishes. Yeah?
Kind of weird. Anyone would think that pots and knives are supposed to go anywhere but the kitchen, huh?
I assume he's gotten them confused. It wouldn't be the first time.
Hold the thought. The dog just keeps fucking barking and won't stop, so give me just a moment. Be right back. I'm a cold, cruel, calculating when I hear things like that, because it's usually when I want quiet. I yell at the top of my lungs. You know she's pregnant, right? I guess. Be right back. still here. Hold on one more second. Okay. Welcome back, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, let's continue our journey here. People are apparently moving. Could you move a little bit quieter and not at 8 o'clock in the evening? That'd be appreciated, thank you.
Confused? How does that even work? I understand covers, carpets, or even curtains getting mixed up. Hey, I'd even understand pots being mixed up with silver decor. But knives?
Oh, he has a collection of ornamental ones from his father. It takes them everywhere he goes, wherever he moves.
I guess that makes sense. A bit. Still odd.
He merely shrugs before going back to work. The movers work efficiently, even when they're left alone, and they do quick work of the responsibilities. The head foreman comes standing by the doorway to consult me on this or that, and I have to go help out every now and then. But they pretty much have everything up to standards. They skip lunch entirely, not even realizing when they do so. Nevertheless, all is well as the butler gets to heating up the leftover bubble and squeak for breakfast, and makes a generous batch of fish and chips for them. Most likely simple in comparison to what he serves to the rides, but well done
That
nonetheless.
smells good. Want to wrap up some for me to go?
I think you're right. Just porn actors. It smells good. Okay. An idle observation more than anything. My thoughts, as they are, preoccupy me.
If there are any left, one can't go wrong with fish and chips. Everyone loves them. Even my husband. And he's American.
Yeah, we have fish and chips in America too, dog. It's okay. Really, I do hate getting up so close and personal with my clients as a distraction. How is that personal? It's obvious to me that I've gotten my priorities all wrong when I can't help but think about what I heard and I learned about the right couple. These things have a way of creeping up on a person. Thoughts, ideas, whether they are fact or fiction. They creep up, fester, crawl, writhe in way that twists. I hear giggling, delighted, mocking. They creep up, and sensation of fingers ghostily briefly on my arm causes me to freeze and hiss.
Don't!
I half expect her to be there.
Whoa, no need to scream bloody murder!
That wasn't bloody murder, that was just don't touch me.
It's just me. Quiet down before you break glass.
But it's just whiskey.
Don't do that again.
I don't like being scared, though I don't believe in the likes of spooks. Being startled is not on top of the list of things Marianne liked. Lucky for him, I have nothing within reach. We would have gotten it on friendly terms with something like a rolling pin.
What was with that reaction? Were you really scared? Has Johann's been telling you ghost stories? He just loves to scare people. Isn't that right, Brother Graham?
Well, his expression is unreadable. I hardly see any emotion on his face to begin with since I started working with the rides, aside from vague amusement. There must be something there, though. The expression of Mr. Wright's face is almost cruel, but neither of them spoke, and even as Johann leaves the room to serve the workers their late lunch.
So, now that we're alone, Marianne, what are you so jumpy for?
I'm gonna leave now. I don't want to be in the same room with you.
I was just thinking about all the urban legends the movers have been telling me about this place.
Don't tell me you believe in that tosh. They're nothing but tales made up to scare children. Timmy, Billy, don't you dare go up to that big mansion and get in trouble there. The ghosts are going to get you.
That's a boring way to look at it, but that's usually what it is anyway, no? Like I said, I was just thinking.
It would be a relief, actually, if those rumors of this place being haunted is true. That just means I'm not going bonkers. Hearing, well, and seeing a dead person is exactly the symptoms of a healthy mind. Sure, it means that there would be such things as ghosts and ghouls and goblins, but at least I'd be sane. On the other hand, there would be actually a dead girl walking around.
If you could excuse the inane question, Mr. Wright, you haven't noticed anything weird here?
A simple question on the surface, yet I notice the man stiffen as the question leaves my mouth. I wouldn't have noticed if it wasn't for watching his reaction intently, but in his eyes I see something dangerous.
It depends on your definition of the word weird. Are we still on the topic of this place being haunted? Because no, things have not started to fly around and we have yet to require an exorcism. I don't think my head would like to do the whole 180-degree turn thing.
Well, maybe that, but no strange people?
Aside from my usually weird butler and all the weird men traipsing around touching my things? No, not really. Why do you ask? Have you noticed anyone strange while you were here? Because you must report it to Johans and he'll have security handle it. But these reports better not be about ghosts and things that go bump in the night. I don't want to waste manpower on the boogeyman or senseless witch hunts.
I'll keep that in mind, Mr. Wright. But no, it's nothing like that. I guess the mansion is just strange for me. It's a unique project.
No strange men or women lurking about then?
A teenager would technically qualify as strange. But yeah, the whole I see dead people thing isn't going over well.
None that I know of. But I'll inform Johans immediately if something comes up.
I'm serious, Mint. You see anything, anyone suspicious, and you report it. Immediately.
Okay, Whiskey.
I think that goes without saying.
The concernee have... Alright, you know what? We're altering this, because whoever wrote this is just dumb. The concern he has on the talk of security is quickly gone. His arrogant, smug smirk returns. It is a bit subdued. Whatever smarmy remark or innuendo he has at the ready never comes through, as his voices from the dining hall ring out.
So, is this a full-time job for you then?
Nah, I just freelance mostly, for magazines, newspapers, and events. So you can't really call it a full-time job. It's fun and it puts food on the table, but it's not what I really want to do. At least not all the time.
That would be the magazine photographer, I presume. As always, Miss Wright talks in such a kind, cheery fashion, no matter who she's talking with. It certainly puts people at ease around her. It sounds like it's working on the photographer, too. Hearing them, though, seems to put Mr. Wright in a sour mood. At least if this small scowl's anything to go by. Is he jealous? Let's if he's alright.
Are you alright there, Whiskey? You're looking like you need a serious drink.
What is it that you want to do then?
Films. Documentaries mostly, but cinematography is a lot more difficult than photography, right? I was working on this thing, actually.
I'm fine. Just a bit winded from all that moving about. It's been a long day.
And the day's not over yet. So if you can excuse the bloodness, you either shape up to help or ship out back to your room and let us do the rest of the work.
He hesitates, eyes locked firmly on the door that led to the dining hall. Even now, we can still hear Miss Wright and the photographer chit-chat in between shots.
It's not my place to say this, but she really does seem to care a lot about you, you know?
There's no need to remind me of that.
Strange smile appears on his face before he shuts his eyes and sighs.
Tell the workers that you're all dismissed early.
That's nice and all, Whiskey, but we really shouldn't just take off. Delays aren't a good thing when it comes to big projects like these. The sooner we tackle certain issues, the better.
A double innuendo.
And I trust you can take care of these issues another day. Don't make me ask again, Mint. Just tell the others they can go home early, and to not worry, they'll still get paid the remaining hours.
I don't know what prompted this. With the air he's putting on, though, I know better than to meddle and prod further. Besides...
Fine, you're the boss.
Walking out of the kitchen, I just accept the fact that whatever he says will go well under his roof. Miss Wright and the photographer are still too busy in a conversation to notice me, even as I make my way through the dining hall. Besides, I didn't want to ruin their fun.
Well, it wasn't really a big thing.
Yep. Foreign actors.
People didn't like Blue Fonzie very much.
People don't like a film about colors. I suppose they would have liked Blue Bibby a lot more.
In the foyer, has me stumble upon a family butler once more, raises a brow at my presence.
And where are you off to in a hurry, Miss McCulloch? The foreman is looking for you.
The Bratwurst wants us off the clock. He's dismissing us early because of... Oh, I don't know. He just wants us out of here.
I'll go and call a cab for you then. It would be for the best that you leave when he asks you to.
I don't doubt it. A ride back to the city doesn't take too long to get there. Granted, there were some difficulties at first because the driver didn't know where the Ermengarde Mansion is. He tried to have us hand over GPS coordinates from our smartphones or some other techno-babble I didn't care about, and the butler didn't understand. But as soon as we told him that it's a haunted mansion over in Ansel Village, he knew just the place. Finally, headed over, and albeit with some hesitation. All the way back to the city, the driver keeps complaining about a place giving him the willies. It gives me the willies too. I would have loved to snap at him. But as soon as the thought occurs to me, another blossoms in the forefront of my mind. One that has somehow bothered me greatly, more than my exasperation over whiskey and this project, or wanting all of it to stop, kind of like the dog outside my goddamn house. There's been no Lorraine whispering over my ears today. Worse, I find myself searching for it. Searching for her. Demu, earthy, loose ends. Bloody loose ends everywhere. Why did she call him Whiskey? Because they met at a bar when the chapter first started, before she had met him. So, and she just called him by the drink he was having. I thought I already moved past this years ago, and it does nothing to help me curb my frustration. If anything, it only ensures that I want a stiff drink. And he calls her Mint. And where else do I go to drink? Tuesdays are for karaoke, Wednesdays improv. Usually it's these four guys who did hilarious games. I swear to God, I'm gonna give the dog outside antifreeze. I mean, I could be like a Lennon-y, literally grab a cat and spray, alcohol in its face and mouth, but hey. The one with Irish drinking songs are always a crowd favorite. Though I love a good laugh, stand-up comedy isn't my thing, and without Cam and Karuna or any other distractions, I end up drinking a lot more than this time. And when there are several bottles of beer in me, I get really, really embarrassing.
Hey! G! Psst! G, come over here!
This is why I don't drink.
I need you for something!
It's a good thing that the bartender's a nice fellow. I'd probably have been kicked out of the place by now or worse. If push comes to shove, all he has to do is give me an easy smile and a shake of the head. Even then, he's attending to other customers. Just like now.
Give me a moment, will ya? I gotta go check on her.
He's some Asian guy? I'm pretty sure I've seen him here before a couple times, although he never talks to anyone except G. The girls used to be all over him too, but he always turned them away.
I'll be here. You go do that before she falls over.
Wow. Asian Joe. What? I'll be here, okay.
All right. What is it?
Wow. So you're a chief inspector and a bartender, and you have the same voice and face. Oh, Lord.
Do you need someone to help you get home?
Bartender, pour the wine!
I think that's enough alcohol for you, little missy. I'm cutting you off.
Mm-hmm. A whine comes from the back of my throat as he pulls my bottle away. I have no hope of getting them back, and once they're behind the counter, even in my drunken mind, I don't dare hop over it for them. Because what little sense I have left knows I'd sooner take a floor dive than succeed in wresting a bottle from a sober man. But that doesn't stop me from trying to reach out with my arms like a stupid idiot anyway. He smiles and shakes his head just like I know he would, before going back to the other guy.
Right now, where were we? How you holding up, boy?
You people all seem to need cough drops. I'm serious. Do you need a Halls? Okay, it's dust off and get up. Little tip for you. With no drink and no one to really chat with, I would have gone home or gone to sleep on the bar right then and there. But I'm not ready to stand up and try and trek back home just yet.
Same old, same old. I'm still on the Luxborn firm case.
Those blokes they talk about being in dark suits, whisking people into the night or some shit and all that. Didn't the media call it some ridiculous name in the morning news?
What is it this time? Wait, don't answer that. They've called it a lot of things. As long as people don't start running around claiming they're the Illuminati. So, what have you got for me this time, G? Anything good?
Slow down there. You haven't even told me what sort of deal in Dosh we got. Who are you looking into this time?
The talk would have interested me, would have kept my attention, gave a damn. But in my current state, I can barely give two fucks about the things going on around me. All these words are buzzing, barely surfacing from the sea of sounds, and that is the pub. And it would have stayed that way, perhaps even drowned, if it didn't hear his name.
Luke Wright. You know the guy.
Illuminati
And don't pretend like you don't, G. It takes a special kind of ignorant not to know who he is.
That smug blonde who likes throwing round his money. He was just here a few days ago, as a matter of fact. Great tipper, if you think him just dumping a wad of cash on the counter after having too much whiskey counts as tipping. Why are you asking? He dirty?
You have no idea, G. He's probably the worst sort you can imagine.
Luke, King Ride, King Whiskey. Even without him around, I'm hearing about the guy. What an absolute fuck! Despite this, I find myself getting up and sauntering over to join them before I pipe up.
Is this smart talk about Luke fucking Wright I'm hearing, eh?
Private conversation here, lady.
Listen, Asian Joe. There's only amusement on G's face. The Asian guy, he starts to look ticked off as hell.
Don't worry, Holmes, she's clean. And she might be able to help you with your, predicament.
Course. A drunk's just stumbled through here with what I need. Get real, G. No offense, lady, but you're smashed.
I know, right? Nothing beats being drunk after a hard day's work, especially when you're working for Mr. Luke Wright.
So, she works for the guy? Doesn't that make her, I don't know, suspect?
See, have a little faith in me, why don't ya? I don't have much, and you might as well have something to go off. You're the one who was so desperate to come running to me for business.
Yoo-hoo! Still right here, fellas. 5'11", can't miss me. Unlike Shorty over here. What's with that mad look? You want to dance, boy? You don't look like you can bust a groove. Maybe a leg, but with that fancy coat of yours.
I like her. At insult to injury, I move directly behind him and use the top of his head as an armrest. And then he shakes me off, I plop into the seat right next to him.
Don't try me. You can hardly stay on your feet. We don't want to ruin your fancy coat, do we?
Ah, children, the both of you. But you're still standing after all that, are you? Man, you see this giantess? She's a legendary regular here. Been drinking like there's no tomorrow. I'm a bit jealous. Can't do that anymore or my liver will give out on me. Good with the mic, too. Don't see you much recently, but I guess you're always busy. You're some fancy designer or something, if I remember correctly.
Wait, I know you. You were at the open house for the mansion.
Yeah, that's right. Marianne I'm a famous interior designer extraordinaire. Ooh, that rhymes.
This is why I don't go to bars, right here. This right here. Nah, I'm good.
Anyway, you guys were talking about that weenie Luke Wright, right?
Or something. Can't really talk about it. I don't even know if I can trust you. Even if G said you're clean. But anything would be of help.
Figuring how many one-night stands she's had, I doubt she's really clean, but move on.
Well, I don't gossip about my clients, if that's all there is to this.
You wanted to gossip about him a few minutes ago, Marianne.
And that was the beer talking, not Marianne.
God, are you obnoxious when drunk, though?
You won't mind if we ask the beer a few questions, then?
Maybe. Depends on who's asking and what they're asking. But seriously, that guy is abso-fucking-lutely frustrating. One moment, he's an absolute dickhead. And then, he's acting like an actual decent human being the next. I just can't figure him out. I can't imagine how that pretty wife of his can put up with him. If I were her, I'd dump his flat arse straight up.
And I'm not just saying that because I think Hannah's pretty or anything. Luke is a catch, too. They both are. Okay, so she swings both ways, but still, which is weird. But I really can't, for the love of all things holy, see how they work out together.
So, Luke Wright, have you noticed anything strange about him while you were working with him?
Like I said, she has all these one-night stands, and it's just... Clearly, whatever's there with legs, she just does.
Anything peculiar?
You're the one being peachy right about now, Holmes. But nah, nothing that comes to mind off the top of my head. He's just like most rich, smarmy arseholes and then some.
Giggle wobbles up and I press my cheeks against the cool countertop with my eye shut tight, just because. Eventually cracking one eye open just in case they thought I fell asleep. I grinned at Holmes.
So, Holmes, I'm guessing you're some private detective or something.
Gives everyone a nickname.
Is it Hannah? Did she pay you to look if he's been cheating or some such?
Hannah's the wife, right? What about her? How's she?
How is she or how is she? Well and good. Definitely the nicer of the two and sexiest sin to boot. Not a private detective then. Are you from one of them tabloids wanting to know if the Luke Wright doesn't know how to put his pants on right? Pants. I take the pants off of...
Ah, here we go. Slipping. I haven't been this drunk in such a long time. It's a miracle I've been coherent for as long as I've been right now.
I'm asking you if you've noticed any odd behavior from her.
Odd behavior? What? I wonder how she'd be drunk. I can just imagine her like the giggly sort. What do you think?
These are serious questions, Marianne. Lives might just be at stake here.
What do you expect? She's smashed.
Why am I even doing this? This is getting me nowhere, G. She's not a reliable source. The chief, let alone the courts, aren't going to take the word of a drunk. This will be dismissed, and I might be in trouble if they try to argue that I coerced a testimony out of her. This is a fucking train wreck.
You're a fucking train wreck now, if you ask me. Maybe it's about time you apply the brakes and stop for a bit.
The wave of despair that comes over both of them is palpable. It feels, the feelings had a taste, bitter than the beer I'm full of. And it gets me thinking, though thinking doesn't get me far with too much shite in my system.
You know that's not an option. Thanks for being patient, McCullough. Good luck with your work on that mansion.
Speaking of that mansion, there's something going on in that place. Something. As day! No wonder Mr. Wright likes it so much. It's as fishy as he is. Rotten bloke. Maybe that Santos girl is really onto something, eh? Suspicious shite, I'm telling you. Explains why she's so reluctant.
What do you mean that Santos girl is onto something?
Before I get another word out, there's hands on my shoulders and everything starts to spin. Quickly slap his hands away the best I can and send him with the foulest look I can muster.
Take your hands off me, pipsqueak. I'm not a lady who's shaken or stirred unless you want me up-chucking on your pretty hair. But it's just like I said. Are you sure you aren't brain damaged or deaf? Santos girl from VRC showed us this creepy letter. You know, just like those spam stuff you get in your emails. And we thought it was some joke or that the girl was just a bit too green to handle a big sale like that. You should have seen the look on their faces when they saw it. Whiskey, that's Luke fucking Wright, you get me? And the missus didn't look too happy either. I should have taken a picture and posted it everywhere. When rich snobs give you that face, no wonder the Santos girl went all mental on us. Working with them does that, you know? I think I'm about to. I'm not mental yet, am I? Anyway, just like I said, in that man... Hey, you okay? Holmes? You're looking a bit shaky yourself there.
And he really is pale. Paler than before, at least. I can see the gears turning in his head and on overtime. Suddenly, he shoves a card in my hand. On it, his name matched in Frey and his number. He has second thoughts as he grabs it from me and slips it into my pocket.
You're cute, pretty boy. But I prefer blondies.
Well, you're not exactly my type either, lady. But listen to me. If something comes up, Don't do anything rash. If you think you're in danger or if you see anything suspicious, call me and the authorities as soon as possible. You understand me? That's 99...
I know what the damn emergency number is.
Right, 999. Anyway, I have to run. See you, G.
Guy's cooking on his feet and already up and at him. There's a number leaves his lips, watching him as he maneuvers. That is not how you smell maneuvers! Through the crowd of other pub goers is enough to tire me out. Fast as he can, he's at the door and throws us a smile. That's all we get before he's gone. Just like that.
Oi, what about your drink, boy? I'm gonna put it on your tab then.
Holmes boy always like that, G?
Pretty much. But what about you? I suppose I put your drinks on your tab too. Don't want you to spill your wallets when you look like you're close to spilling yourself.
Yeah, and if it's fine by you, I think I'll go take a bit of a cat nap here. Just for a sec or two.
Go right ahead. I'll wake you when I close up shop.
Swimming in cocktails. Bumbling a sleepy thanks, I doze off on the spot, face pressed on the counter. Already I dread the pain I'll have for sleeping in such a position. But then you gotta go. You gotta go. Oh. Hi, again, ladies.
Oh, Marianne! How long have you been standing there, dearie?
Come join us, Marianne. We won't bite, unless you ask, that is.
Not that I can get much sleep to begin with. Do people ever have the feeling that they're working on something they really enjoy, but still it eventually tires them out? Yeah. 'Cause honestly, I've been feeling like that.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
How do people just stand there this casual like this? No, stop it. To remember moments like these, or make all the hard work worth it. Definitely.
Well, I can't take all the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the Wright mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
We're only about halfway done, but the honest satisfaction on McLean's face is enough for me to push through. Let's face it, in between my exasperation and Mr. Wright's antics and her, I've been burning the candles at both ends. I can't even close my eyes without seeing a dead girl's face. Dead girl. Dead. She's dead. I have to keep reminding myself that burying my feelings as deep as they've been buried her body 6 feet under. I shouldn't waste so much time on someone who's supposed to be gone. I've wasted so many years thinking about her already. There should be no need to bother myself with the dead, then I shouldn't be bothering myself with the living. Too bad, the living are usually complicated. Not more than the ghosts of the past.
But don't you have a party?
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting. He's having marital problems and he's just trying to cheer him up.
It's even more complicated when the living is in question as a pair of rich and famous socialites way past their honeymoon phase. And I've been somehow roped into being relationship counselor.
They've been married for a long time and they've hit how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband, but it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle, but if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives.
Why she thinks a single woman like me would be the best source of relationship advice is beyond me. Still, I talk and answer to the best of my abilities. Without realizing it, I'm already pouring out a part of me that I thought were long gone. I'd like to believe my words will be some help to Miss Wright. But if I'm being honest, though, there are some help to me, like some weight has been taken off my shoulders. Lorraine.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Marianne.
Wait, if what happened to her hasn't left me yet, did it? Maybe.
I'll try to stay in chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you. You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
Maybe it's about time I changed.
We'll see. So, if I can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive, because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
No, I shouldn't dwell on the dead. I shouldn't just callously forget about them, too. Saying that I have work left to do is just an easy enough excuse to make. I know how other people see me. They see someone so obsessed with their craft that they would easily miss things like party for it. Outside the parlor, people hurry about here and there in preparation of the Wright's grand housewarming party. None spare me a glance as I slip past them, each working on their appointed roles and not daring to slack off while they work for what is probably the most powerful couple in Luxburn. I make it into the kitchen with ease, the wine cellar being my final destination. But when a great task is ever simple, I never. And this is a great task, isn't it? My greatest one yet that is worthy of being called a quest. I'm not acting as Marianne Collong, that professional interior designer, when I chose to lie about being too busy for a party. I'm Marianne Collong, a lawful neutral cleric with 9 points in wisdom and 8 in charisma. Just thinking of it like that makes it a bit cheesy. But it helps with the fear. It helps overcome the insane thought that I'm actively seeking out something that has been plaguing me for years. I might face my worst nightmare, I might be seeing nothing and find myself imagined a grand quest fall flat. And who would have thought that the gatekeeper to my final quest would be someone I thought would be a valuable ally?
Schnell! Hurry up, you snails! We are on a deadline and you are wasting my time!
The butler comes from the cellar and in the kitchen, tailed by a couple others, people who I assume are most likely chefs and bartenders. He raises a brow, seeing me just standing there at the hatch by the trap door. Almost looks like he's gonna throw me out by being in the kitchen without permission. But then he motions for the others to disperse and familiarize themselves with the surroundings. Meanwhile, he continues to stand there, preventing entry into the darkness beyond.
What are you doing here, Fraulein? This is not the place for guests or in an architect right now. I request you leave.
I was just looking around for any last-minute things, yes?
Yes, you have been doing that a lot. Looking around, snooping about. Now is not the time for such things. If you're not careful, people might think you are up to something.
Look he gives me says this is almost chilling. If life was a game book, he'd probably be a true neutral warlock guarding the treasure room. A difficult opponent to beat with 9 points in wisdom and 8 in dexterity.
Well, I'm not done yet. I actually need to go into the wine cellar. Just need a quick go at the place. So just don't mind me. I'll be out of your hair soon enough.
Go outside, enjoy the party. Bask in the praise and adulation they will no doubt shower you with when the madam speaks highly of you. Surely you've had enough of this stuffy old kitchen by now. You do not want to cause trouble. Both the Bratwurst and Hannah want this to be perfect. It would be a disservice and disrespect to toe out of line and risk it being anything otherwise. And more importantly, I will be blamed for any failure that happens tonight.
His intervention almost turns me away. Maybe this is a sign I'm not meant to seek Lorraine out. But
please, it's really important.
15 minutes. 9, 10 minutes. Any longer and I'll pull you out of there myself. The Bratwurst will be furious if he thinks anyone is touching his precious wine without his permission.
Thank you. This seriously means a lot.
Steps aside begrudgingly. At this point, it Looks like there's no turning back now. Oh boy. The cellar greets me ominously as I descend. The space feels smaller with a lot more bottles lining the wall compared to before, and knowing what might be waiting for me here makes things worse. The mirror that had been moved from the study is my goal. I did not return to it after my initial discovery, but the thought of Lorraine and how much I want to see her again, even if it's just for one more time, keeps coming back to my mind. As I walk through the cellar, I have to stop when I feel something punch beneath my feet. Whatever few bottles were left behind here are now nothing but glass under my heels. Perhaps dropped by one of the many chefs and bartenders the butler had escorted through here before. And it made a downright mess, the red slick pool from the remnants of a good drink. How dark this place is, a person with a dark enough imagination can easily mistake it for blood. I can't help but think it is, despite the easy logical explanation that it came to my mind, but only because what I'm about to do. It's merely a momentary distraction as I continue to the end of the cellar where the mirror stands. Propped up on the far wall, it gleams innocently while pretending to be a simple and ordinary mirror. How morbid to think this thing can show a person their deepest, most desperate desires and twist it to an image so dark. I'm just gonna save just in case. That's what I had seen all day. Though I heard Lorraine many times, I only seen her here within its frame. I wonder if people have discovered it before. How many were wasted away in front of it, enamored? How many were frightened away by what they saw? Yet, as I stand before it now, nothing. I can barely see my own reflection in the darkness.
How does this even work? Mirror, mirror on the wall?
Yep, that's what did it before.
Something? Anything?
Nothing. Touching the surface doesn't make it magically activate or anything like that. There is no sudden urge of power. I'm not suddenly granted sight. It stays what it is, a mirror. Was Lorraine's appearance in the mirror all sort of some fever dream? Am I really that burdened with guilt and despair that my mind would eat itself in my stress and have me hallucinate such things? Either way, just going here on some crazed obsession for a girl long gone must warrant me a trip to the doctor. Already I feel ill. After a few more minutes in the hopes of something that would change, I turn around to leave. I can just go back to the upstairs like nothing ever happened. I've stopped by the party for some hors d'oeuvres. My God, you people and those fucking appetizers. Then go home and collect myself. Besides, Miss Wright is expecting me and I'm
going to leave me again then, are you?
stop in my tracks, but I don't turn back. Much as it pains me, I don't look back. I'm just hearing her again, desperately delusional, and I look back to see nothing. I don't want to give myself false hope. But when I feel fingers around a wrist pull at me, I look back in shock. My first thought is, how in God's name is that possible? And the second is Lorraine. Her hands are cold.
Are you that mad at me that you're just going to ignore me, Marianne?
I don't trust you. I don't know what to say. I can only stare at her and wonder. She stands there in the mirror with only one arm extended outward for my sake. I look at the hand still holding my wrist, and when she sees me looking at it, she moves it so that my hands are intertwined, fingers weave together. Seeing her there, feeling her touch, meant I'm not crazy, though however impossible and unexplainable this is all to me right now. It just takes my breath away. Pulling her out from there is tempting. I can imagine doing so with ease. We can be together again, Lorraine and Marianne, like nothing ever happened. But that would be, well, a great lie, wouldn't it?
What? Tack out your tongue? Don't just look at me like that. Say something.
Even if this is a thing where some magic portal that can bring back the dead, that doesn't erase anything. Just looking at her, still a young teenager, while I'm already a grown woman, serves no other reason than to break the illusion that blinds me. I've seen her twice now, always behind the mirror. If this is real, if this isn't some illusion, then why can she only exist behind the glass?
Yeah. You have no idea how happy I am to see you. It's been so long.
A good point. That's actually a really good point.
You don't look happy.
I really am happy, but at the same time, I can't help but think about what happened.
And what does that mean? What are you saying?
That you're dead? Gives me this peculiar look, and before my eyes, she moves to step out of the mirror. In turn, I wrench my hand back from her and take a step back, almost as if I'm afraid.
I don't know how this is possible. But whatever this is, it isn't real. You can't be real.
I'm right here, aren't I? What other proof do you need?
No. I see you. I hear you. I feel you. But even with all that, you can't be real. You just can't. I saw your body. I helped bury you. You're dead.
A deep hurt crosses her face. It just breaks my heart in two, seeing her wear the expression.
Burying me wasn't the only thing you did. Don't you dare lie. But I'm going to be the bigger woman, aren't I? Let bygones be bygones. I'll forgive you, as long as you stay with me, Marianne. That's why you came down here, right? To find me?
That was the plan. Came down here looking for her for closure. But this isn't just closure. This is something else entirely. I didn't think I would be forced to make such a choice. Do I leave or do I stay? Don't mind me. Okay. So, if you want to stay, this one's super tough for me. I need to move on. Closure. That's all I came here for. Whatever this is, it might as well just be the devil's trick. And I might as well make some use of it, right? I say nothing at first, for fear of angering whatever phantom this is. I take Lorraine's hand and bring it up to my lips, pressing a kiss to her knuckle. She takes it as some sort of invitation to pull me along, to step back into the mirror until only her arm is extended again.
I should have been more honest back then, both to you and myself. I know it's too late. I'm sorry. But
the thought of being with the dead did not agree with me. Not one bit.
I can't stay with you.
Goodbye, my first love.
So what? You're going to leave me for some old trophy wife?
I'm leaving you just to leave you.
That's it, isn't it? You're going to leave poor Amy Lorraine and go after the next rich, pretty blonde that you see.
This is a mistake.
All these years, guilt has been my driving force. I felt so guilty for what I did, what I didn't do.
She thinks she can guilt me into being complacent, but she realizes otherwise as I pull my hand from her. And going by the look of anger on her face, and anger that runs cold, she did not like the fact that I'm not the same or some puppet on a string. Had she chosen her words carefully, I would have accepted whatever punishment Lorraine chose to give me. Guilt had ran my life. It might have very well ended it, as I deserved it.
But what I did to me. The blood in my hands is mine, not yours.
Whoever or whatever the shadow is, my gut tells me she's not Lorraine. Yet I keep talking as if she is.
I broke your heart, not your neck.
Don't you dare deny it! It was your fault!
Because I loved you more than I dared to admit? Yes, that was my fault. But I never meant to hurt you like that.
Despite my words, no matter how sincere they are, she appears angry, enraged, in fact. It's been years since I last saw that face, and even now the memory of it still etched deeply into my mind. The hurt, the tears, the hate spilling from her eyes that day, the moment I rejected her. Rejected myself for who I am. And she definitely will hate what I'm about to do next. To my left, a wine rack. And from there I take a bottle and pray to all the saints I can remember. For all my sins, for every hurtful words I've uttered, for what I have driven her to do that day, what I forced her into.
What are you doing?
I do it without thinking twice. Quickly, before I can hesitate, I grab a bottle and send it straight towards the mirror. Charge of the bottle and the mirror are sent flying through everywhere as Lorraine's screams echo in the cellar. Bitter, searing, like every wounded accusation she hurled at me. They've never left me. I doubt they ever will. But with this, I can move away from her, live my life as I should, free from the burden. Her burden. Because Lorraine, I know, the real one, the person I loved, will never want me carrying this to my death. As the screaming dies down, I can't help but mutter weakly.
It's done. It's done. Oh, Lorraine. Forgive me, Lorraine.
I take some time to compose myself, breathing in and out, stamping down on the trimmer, still racking my hand, straightening out my jacket, fixing my hair. All a weak attempt at returning myself to someone resembling in my normal self. This would probably be easier to do so with a mirror, but I likely won't be able to stand looking at one for a long time.
Well, now, I should probably go back up there. Party to attend, rich socialites to do business with, and food to eat. Mrs. Wright will be happy if I make some time for it anyway.
And yet, one last time to the shattered glass beneath my feet.
I'm sorry, Lorraine. May you see God's light on the path.
Turning around to leave, and for good this time, the uneasy smile on my face falls as I see Lorraine whole and well.
Come on, Mac. You really didn't think it would be that easy, did you? You get bonus points for trying, but you should know an 8 in charisma is not enough to turn undead.
Well, shit. Advances towards me, backs me against the wall. I can't even reach for another wine bottle without putting myself within further reach of her. Despite my earlier bravado, I didn't think she'd be able to exist at all without the mirror. You blame me, though? It's not like I'm an expert on the supernatural.
That's not... You shouldn't be...
What? After the mirror? Did you think just moving on will erase what you did to me? You're nothing but a murderer, Marianne. A murderer!
You're probably the most flawed supernatural entity I've ever heard of.
Stay back. You're not real. Leave me alone. Stop. I'm trying to move on with my life, so why won't you let me? Please. Just get out of my head and leave me be.
I try to find an exit when there's a click. The next thing I know, I'm falling back into darkness. Well, I seem to be in a dungeon. I fall on my back and the door slams shut behind me. In a daze, I look around warily and find myself in another room entirely. On the other side of the wall, some sort of free secret passage, perhaps, an underground tunnel that has me wary and frightened. It also proves that the oddities in the mansion's floor plans are a lot more than just little discrepancies. I expect Lorraine to jump out at me from the darkness at any time. Breeze blows through the tunnel, has me relieved, though, at the idea that there is still a way to escape should that happen. That is way better than being trapped underground with only God knows what that was. Funny thought comes to mind as I start walking to where the exit might be. I think about how Miss Wright would be disappointed if I didn't show up to the party. Imagine how furious Mr. Wright would be for breaking one of his wine bottles. Even Johanna's reaction comes to mind. I don't really know with this guy. One thing's for sure is that I would be calling him Cam and Corona for a drink as soon as I get out of here. Yet, that noise has me wary. Ghastly thing, a corpse of a woman leans on the wall. Her arms and limbs, almost every inch of her lithe body is peppered with wounds and rotting flesh. And it is then that the putrid smell of blood and gore hits me, making it so that I don't even question how I missed it in the first place.
How long has this been here?
This is your first question out of your mouth.
Oh, that smell. Oh, you're a nasty one, aren't you?
Are you being brazen with the dead? I flinch as the thing twitches. And as soon as it opens its eyes and looks at me with a smile, there's nothing on my mind but horror. You gonna go ahead and ask it about its smell now? I break into a run. I try to keep on running, no matter how many legs and feet scream at me to stop. I keep going, even when I look back and see nothing of her anymore, because I can still hear the scampering of her feet, the words she tries to form with her bloodied mouth, and the painful sounds of bones grinding against each other. She moves closer and closer to me.
How long are these damn tunnels?
I was about to ask the same damn question. I mean, seriously, that's maybe 50 feet. There's a split second where I know that this thing is right behind me. Strange sensation creeping over my limbs when her presence looms over me. And then suddenly, I can't even do anything before I'm yanked by the hair and pulled back. Still, I struggle up until I'm thrown to the side like a rag doll. Hit the ground on my side, the musty smell of old hay that reaches me is my only indication that I'm still alive.
Please don't hurt me.
My body hurts, and I keep my eyes shut tight, afraid of what might happen next.
What's wrong, Marianne? Are you really afraid of little old me?
There's only dread, seeing how she's followed me even here. She looms over me, backs me further into the cell that I was thrown in.
Please. It's so cold. I don't want to be alone, Marianne. Why won't you stay with me? Why would you leave me? Why?
What are you?
Lorian turns and shifts into the thing from before, and a video camera. Without the same gruesome grin, it takes a step forward towards the cell, towards me. I barely scramble to my knees when the door to the cell slams shut and it stands there staring. Shouts for help ring out in the tunnels, but none of them are coming for me. I'm more paralyzed and shocked by what is happening. My throat tightens as being fooled by the image of Lorraine at the thoughts of being trapped down here. So then where?
Help me! Help me! Oh, help me! Are you getting all this on camera, Carl?
Yeah, but are you guys sure this is a good idea? We're breaking and entering here.
Don't worry, the owners of this place haven't been here in a long time. Look at this thing, though! It has writing in blood like some cheesy 80s horror prop. Wait, I have an idea. Oh man, that's genius!
What kind of butthead would even take this thing seriously? Maybe we can stick this in Rowan's backpack. That's where his kid would panic. Guys?
Butler's too old for that.
What? Spit it out! Behind you!
There in the corner of the cell, a digital camera comes flickering to life and a video is played back on the screen. It was hard to even consider paying attention or any attention to it when the life is on the line. But when the ghost doesn't move and the teenagers' mocking shouts of help me filled the cell, I just had to watch. And when I had seen students judging by their St. Goretti uniforms, they were holding
That letter.
a thing the woman she'd